We're live. Oh my goodness.
We made it.
Almost on time for a live.
We weren't late.
Not too late anyway. Sorry,
You opening up on your thing too?
Yeah.
Cool. We can watch ourselves.
Yeah. That's part of the
computer
fun.
too.
Part of the fun. See yourself. See what you're doing. See how terrible your video is. We're both scraggly throated today.
It's because we just ate.
Yeah. Let's see if I can. Silly things.
Silly technology.
Yeah. But
it's all right. We're only 52 seconds in, so we're doing pretty good. Here we are.
Very nice. There we go. All right. Click that.
You'll have to mute it.
I did already. Yeah. We're good.
Don't look too bad. I don't know if, you want to get a drink of water, maybe you closest.
Yeah, actually, good idea.
My glass. Thank you.
We were rushed, therefore we're not prepped.
Yep, we weren't quite ready, but that's okay. We, I guess this is probably as good a time as any. We'll probably mention it again, but
mention it at the beginning for anybody who's
anybody who watches later. We're contemplating moving our time to.
We're not contemplating. We've decided to.
Yeah, we've decided to,
at least for the summer.
Bump it back for the spring. We'll see after summer. Bump it back to 9 instead of 8:30. Only because it gives you that little bit extra time to do stuff outside, since
the weather's nice and we've we kind of get to that point now where we're not coming in from outside until close to 8 o'clock at least, and just kind of doesn't give enough time to get ready and sorted. And also switching to 9 o'clock works better for the kids because they usually go to bed at 8:30. But with us doing the live, it does seem
we can usually have them in bed on time.
Yeah, they don't go to bed because we're doing a live and they don't want to miss out. So we will be switching to 9 o'clock from this point forward. Mm-hmm. Still Tuesdays, but I think we're going to do 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. But hopefully that works for everybody.
Hey,
Honey Badgers Homestead. How you doing? Hope you're having a good night.
I don't know. I think, was it yesterday we were in Sean's chat and you mentioned that the weather was pretty nice your way. Hopefully you're not going to get what we're supposed to be getting, which is snow.
Tonight into tomorrow, we're supposed to get 6 inches of snow. So it feels cold outside.
Yeah, it's cooled down quite a bit. The positive is we don't really have anything planted outside except for a couple kale plants and your cabbages from last year. We covered them. So.
Yeah, we covered them and just moved a few things into the greenhouse. Yeah. But we are good as well. It's a few last minute kind of panics to get a few things done around the farm before the snow comes again.
Oh,
but it's good though. It'll still be moisture. So
yeah, we need that regardless.
Yeah. That's just it.
That's good. The weather's not looking too bad your way.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see if it amounts to anything. I think it's probably going
to sneeze. Hey, Thorhaven.
Unscheduled sneeze.
is what we're getting coming your way? Oh, I couldn't believe it when I didn't even know it was coming. And then what were we watching today? Somebody said something came up and said about it was going to be snow. And I went, and then I had a look and I was like, sure enough, they're calling for snow. Like the high tomorrow's only 0. So I said, jeepers, we better.
For end of April.
Well, I said, what's going to happen is you can bet your butt all of our baby lambs are going to arrive tonight and tomorrow.
Probably. Yeah, I can take it down.
Well, not that much.
Well, I have to make it go. There you go. I'll be right back.
That's better. But yeah, it's always a given that if there's going to be bad weather, that is when everybody's going to have their babies. Hey, Walsh Hills. Chris was telling me you had some good Oh, no, it wasn't. It was the people who bought their eggs right before you hatched out quite a few in their incubator. So I hope that yours are looking good. Well, we're glad that you're here as well, honey badgers. I know we kind of periodically see you in other lives, and it's great to see you guys in here. There's always a snowstorm the end of April. Yes. Like I said, last year it was May 11th and there was snow on the ground because the sheep had just had their lambs and everybody was just like, what is this? What is going on? Oh, you're right. I had...
We've got one out there. I think she's going tonight.
Yeah, we had one yesterday, had babies, and then one tonight. She had built a nest and she was in it. I didn't bother her too much, but I'm almost thinking I probably should have covered her again, but it's not windy, so she should be okay. And she's got her enclosed little nest box, and she built a really good nest. So yeah, we're up to, I think what did I say? 21 baby bunnies so far have arrived, which is pretty exciting.
We actually have?
Yep. And we got, this girl's still got to go, and 2 more litters. And then I did try to breed one yesterday, but she was one that did not have a good batch on her first litter 2 weeks ago. So I'm not sure if she
wasn't super enthusiastic.
No, she was not in the mood. Hitch a chick, look at that. She's on time. Just teasing you, only because we were just in Jules' thing and you just caught the end. I did think that was quite comical, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. We've just, I don't know. I took, on the weekend, we had a 4-day weekend of doing stuff around the farm. And it's kind of one of those weekends where it just didn't feel like things went the way you were hoping they were going to go.
Yeah. Well, we had, did you post the setback video today?
Yes.
Yes.
The fencing.
It wasn't a big setback, but the cows pushed down the fence, and we weren't planning to have to work on that this weekend, and then we did, and
we thought it had a little more life left in it than it did.
Yeah. Really, honey badgers? Oh, sorry, I'm going up to the. Sorry. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Wow. Now, the one thing that we did notice on this first time, she was a first-time mom, and her babies weren't developed. It was very peculiar. She went full term. She built a beautiful nest. I mean, she pulled half her hair out. And then, yeah, she kind of had these weird things all over.
Blobs.
Blobs. Yeah. Hi, Cindy Squirrel.
Hello.
And so, not to get all graphic and gross, but I'm not sure what that is about. I was going to Google it tonight when I came in, and then we did look in the rabbit book, but it didn't have anything. So I did want to Google it, but no, we've not seen them killing their first litter, but this was, first time kind of weirdness. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, we basically have the rabbits mostly for meat. We're hoping to do
fur.
Use some of the fur. We have a bunch in the freezer.
Yeah, we did tan a couple. I think I don't know where they are right now, but we did show them in one of our lives. We tanned a couple just to try it, and we like it. So I'm going to I knit mittens with our lamb fleece. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping to knit these nice mittens with our gray lamb fleece, and then have the fur cuff. I think it'd be really nice. And I was also thinking to do the slippers the same way, the slipper with the fur cuff. But
it'd be nice.
We'll see. That all involves time, and there isn't always a lot of time.
But it's another use. Kind of the more uses you can get out of something, the better.
Yeah.
The more uses you can find for them. But,
yes.
Cow fencing. This will be our. We've done quite a bit of the sheep fencing. We've got to gear up to do some electric fencing for the cows to get them out of the yard that they're in, because they, we thought the fence was going to last a little longer. We knew it was pretty rotten and pretty rough, but I don't think they pushed on it very hard, and it's like sheared right off above the concrete. So that's the end of that fence.
Yeah, it's actually quite comical, because since we've had the cows, we've not used electric fencing, mostly because it was the winter, and we find our ground rods don't work great wintertime, and we just kind of, we're complacent, and they weren't too bad. I don't know if you found this at all, or if you've ever had them not on electric, but it is like we broke their spirit. I mean, our cows, I don't know if anybody's seen the cow video, the racing cows and the goofy behavior. That's like textbook. Every time our cows go out, they run around and, you know, they have this like fantastic time and play and just charge like they're going to go through the fence. And now they just kind of walk out and then they just stand there. They don't, it's like
They were doing it a little bit today.
not like they normally do. Yeah, so it kind of feels like we broke their spirit a little bit with the electric fence. So I kind of feel bad, but at the same time now they don't go anywhere near the fence, which is what we should have done in the first place.
Yep, one strand's keeping them in.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's good to know that you've had that too. Like we've had a lot of litters of rabbits.
And I mean, like, I think we'd seen it once before, but it wasn't a first time litter.
Just occasionally seems to randomly happen. We can't figure it out. Exactly.
So we're not sure if it's just something like they abort in the middle because conditions don't seem right for them or whatever it is. But hello, full-time dream. But anyways, yes, it happens, and we just kind of roll with it.
From our perspective, I would say the rabbits are probably not, and there are people that do it commercially. Where we are, they're totally only worth it for your own use.
Homestead personal use, yeah. The for us, commercially wise, anyways, it's not really worth it. The cost to get them butchered, even to sell the meat here, is quite a bit. You do have to pretty much do that yourself. Although it's the same, I'd say the same about chickens too. Cost to butcher chickens here is a lot. So it could be a case that it's the same in your neck of the woods as well. But certainly worth it as far as easy to produce meat. I mean, each rabbit produces us 4 pounds, maybe even a bit more than that.
Depends how long you keep them.
Yeah, depends how long how big you let them get. But we get roughly the 4 pounds of meat, usable meat, like that's deboned, from our rabbits, and it costs us, well, we're trying to work on getting it down, but it costs us $7-8.
You have to enjoy it though.
Yeah, which is about $2 a pound, which isn't that bad.
It's not a lot of physical work, but it's a lot of time to raise them, right? Compared to some other things, because you can't just put them out on pasture.
Yeah.
But as long as you enjoy it, it's worth it. Is basically the way we kind of look at it. Yeah, we've got the the welded wire for the sheep.
Or no, ours is the twisted. It's the.
Oh well, yeah, but
same thing. Yeah,
like
it's the 4x4 fencing net.
Which works really well.
Yeah,
we're just trying to.
The cows were kind of held in the fence that the previous owners had for their horses, and it was very, very rough. But we just thought we'd get away with it a little bit longer. But they decided that the grass was definitely greener on the other side.
Yep,
and wanted it.
Apparently, that saying is 100% true in a cow's mind.
Yeah. Electric. The snow was so deep it didn't work through the winter. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No, that makes perfect sense. Well, it's funny because we went from having the goats to the cows.
And we did that in some ways because we thought they'd be easier for fencing,
and they are.
The electric is a lot easier. So
yeah, you can fence a bigger area with less cost, but at the same time, they're just as hard, if not maybe harder on the fence than if you let them harder on the on the page.
Although
wire.
Now after discovering the electric and turning it on and whatnot, we're just like, why didn't we do that before? Because that was really silly
of us. Yeah. That's all right.
Anyways, that's how it is. Something has to go wrong to learn from it. That's basically it's not a whatever. What's the saying? You have to learn from mistakes or whatever. I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah, we'll go with that. We're going to go with
mistake.
that. Well, it's not a mistake. It's a learning thing or whatever.
Learning curve.
Yeah. So, but
it's not exactly the same as chickens. No. We've got a series on it. Not a super. Well,
but yeah, we don't really show the actual dispatch, but there are tools you can get. We don't use them. We use. You can Google it on a different YouTube channel. We didn't show it on our butchering video, but we use the broomstick method to dispatch our rabbits. But you can also buy. What's the V thing? It's not a cone. It's not a cone, but it's a tool that you mount to your wall.
Mm-hmm. I forget what it's called.
That's supposed to be very good as well. But we've, for almost 8 years now, have done it, and we've used the broomstick method, and it works amazing. So
it's quick.
it's kind of one of those, you got to get over the first couple because, you know, they're bunnies and cute rabbits. But once you get going with it and it becomes a thing, it's so quick. Yeah. So, but I would certainly recommend rabbit for any homestead because of the fact that you can grow so much of the food for them. You know, I mean, and they eat all the excess weeds and stuff. Like we till the garden once and then you let the weeds grow because the rabbits eat all that all summer. We just pull it out and throw it to whatever bunny. We kind of keep the rabbits around the garden. So it works great.
If you're doing that kind of method, they're a lot more labor.
Yes.
But again, it goes back. If you enjoy it, then it doesn't really matter, right? Yeah. It's kind of like chickens. The other thing you really can't justify the cost of chickens.
Yeah. Well, the other
maybe
thing
now,
I would say,
but versus what you can buy eggs at the store. But if you enjoy it, why wouldn't you?
The other thing I would say on the rabbit front, just before we move on, but is we do keep they're not purebred, but pedigreed Champagne d'Argent rabbits. They're purebred. It's the same thing, I guess. And definitely keeping the purebred rabbit to be able to sell it makes a huge difference to whether rabbits are worth raising.
Helping to cover your costs.
Yeah, it covers your costs. I mean, like, you know, the purebred rabbits, you can, I don't know what the going rate is there, but here you get about $50 a rabbit. So for breeding stock, which is actually pretty good. You only have to sell 5 or 6 rabbits in a year, and it kind of covers a good portion of your breeding flock's food.
It just all depends on your area and what works for you. But
once they know about
we said this was a garden chat. Yeah, we're talking about rabbits and livestock.
Yeah, it always seems to rotate back to that, but
it's just that time of year, I guess.
Well, and it's the garden stuff, especially now with the forecast of snow. It's one of those things of,
Well, we still got a bunch of stuff to get planted. We're
behind
as usual.
We were doing so well this spring with getting going on things, and then we just had it bottlenecked because we didn't have a way to move them out. We didn't have grow lights. We didn't have space for things to be repotted and moved to bigger pots. And and then everything in our house has to be cat proofed if you're going to put plants there. So that even limited the space more. So it kind of was one of those things, like we haven't even planted our tomatoes yet. We're so far behind on that. But after this live, we said we are going to plant some tomatoes. Although we did want to do it as a video, so that might be a little difficult.
Or maybe tomorrow.
There's always an excuse. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're at too. Like we've got a few things out there, but I think after this little cold snap bit,
hopefully that'll be
it. And I think we're going to start. Well, we've got to get some other stuff started in that too. But some of it we can do outside, not the tomatoes, but some other stuff we can definitely do outside.
Yeah, well. Hopefully, because we did make the little cover on the one, so we'll be able to plant a few things. Like
well, that was funny because I think we put it in the video. We made the little cover, like cold frame type cover for one of our raised beds, and then like the next day it was like 25 degrees.
We're just like, guess we don't need that.
Fry everything in there had we planted everything, but now we're back to where.
Well, and it's not really supposed to be warm for a bit now. So
which is probably just as well.
It probably is actually more closer to normal here now.
We just got spoiled with some really high temperatures for a bit. But
here, 10 to 15. Wow. Well, I guess it does depend because I know you can go like here. We can go onto Kijiji and look up, just a regular meat rabbit to buy to butcher yourself. And they sometimes are even $5. I mean, people are just getting rid of stuff. But definitely something that's got the pedigree is not.
But that's kind of the same. If you're doing something on a small scale, and this is opinion, to go back to livestock, but if you're doing something on a smaller scale with livestock, I'm still of the opinion you're better off to try keeping, I'm going to say, a pure breed because they're not just a unit, right? When you get into a big farming situation, like each individual animal doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It's the overall production, but you're not really that way on a small scale. So if you can find other niches, it's kind of like the dual purpose. If you can find a purebred that does what you want, then you open yourself up to that other market too, right? To potentially, you can't bank on it.
No, it's not guaranteed.
It's not a guaranteed, but you have the potential to make some extra.
We're the same way with our sheep, basically. I mean,
and the cows
everything is done in such a way that you could potentially sell a few live animals to help cover the cost, so that long-term goal is you eat for free.
Ideally.
It feels a long ways off, but yeah.
But if you can, it's just kind of one of those things. I don't know, if you can bring in a little bit of extra income selling, it's like Thorhaven with the Highlands, right? If you sell a couple of heifers or something, they're going to help lower your overall cost.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, cows is a longer term thing,
Yeah.
but it's the same principle.
Speaking back to Thorhaven and totally switching topics, loved the Shed Wars entry video.
Yes. That was
awesome
good.
Job. And I really loved how Homestead Aquarius did his like hammer thing and stuff. That was so cool. I giggled. We saw the screen and we're like, Thor's in it. He's on our team.
And yeah, I was going to say, and welcome to Team Woodcutter.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome Team Woodcutter. That's kind of exciting.
Yeah, we've been tracking our stuff so far. I don't know. I still love the.
Hey, Urban Girl Gardening, how you doing tonight?
I still love the part with excuse me, with Shed Wars of the tracking it. Not so much for the competition. That's kind of fun, but tracking just to see like what does it amount to weight wise, and what are we? We're up.
Have you got the hiccups? Probably. Oh my gosh, that drives me absolutely batty. Get rid of the hiccups. It's my I don't have a lot of pet peeves, but hiccups is a big pet peeve for me. Sorry, rant over.
As I was saying,
yes, going back
to Shed Wars, we kind of looked. We put in our tally into the spreadsheet for the up to today. Yeah, and we were kind of surprised. We're up to
114 pounds
already. Mind you,
since March 23rd till now. So in 1 month, not even 1 month, 114 pounds.
Now, probably half of that is sheep. No, it wouldn't be half.
No, not half.
Because we have 2 sheep that are in there. But,
oh yeah, actually, it would be half, more than half.
But still, we're pretty impressed with that.
Yeah, but that's all of our big ones done now for Shed Wars. We won't be doing another sheep before the end of Shed Wars. So.
No, not likely.
But that's okay.
Still, it's interesting.
It is. Well, that's he said about actually tracking what you produce, because we've never ever done that.
No.
And we're not doing we've even said we might have even put it in our intro video, but we're not changing anything we normally do. We're growing the same we always do. Maybe a few more of this, but we've also cut out some of the things we didn't like so that we could grow more. The one thing we are increasing big time this year is potatoes, because.
But that's not because of Shed Wars.
No, this is just the second year in a row where we've only grown enough potatoes to save them for the following year. And we're so glad we did, because we went to buy potatoes from our local place where we get potatoes, and they had nothing. Their order, they couldn't even get most of their potatoes. And they'd already been spoken for the big growers that they supply. So we were glad we saved them.
We did manage to pick up another variety that I wanted to get. We got some, what did we get? 15 pounds of, 15 pounds?
Yeah, 15 pounds of Yukon Gold. We'd never grown them before.
Well, my parents used to grow them years ago, and I don't know. I like them for mashed potatoes and stuff. So
yes.
We kind of wanted to add them to the.
Sorry, I'm going back to Urban Girl Gardening just for a moment, because we're great, and I'm glad that you're great as well.
That's good.
It's been a busy couple days, and now we're preparing for 6 inches of snow. But otherwise, we're in pretty good spirits. I'm betting that we're going to have lambs in the morning just because it's supposed to snow.
Good chance.
Yes, but.
That's awesome about the pink oysters.
Oh, yes.
Never tried them. I'd be curious to see what they taste like in comparison to.
Well, we're letting them figure it all out. Just in case anybody doesn't know, Walsh Hills Homestead is probably the closest person to us that we actually have on YouTube.
I think so.
You might have to correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was less than half an hour. But anyways, he's going to figure out the growing mushrooms and then teach us all he knows. But if you won't subscribe to him, subscribe to his channel, because he's a little nice homestead as well. And he's got some great videos. And I'm sure there's more to come as they move and start their next one. That was my plug. That was my plug.
The only other thing you could do, you could drop the link.
I could drop the link. Goodness gracious, terrible of me.
We need to get more moderator people so that.
I don't even remember who is a moderator, to be honest.
They show up in blue.
Well, not on there though.
They show up in blue on there. But, Yeah,
I'm going to put his link.
It was always that thing of like trying to plan ahead. And
Hi, Sean, Alaska.
We knew that the place that we get our feed and everything from, we knew they would get some, and we'd actually been talking to them. They kind of gave us the heads up. The order was coming in, kind of show up right as it comes in, and you'll get your stuff. So it just kind of worked out that we were able to get it. But yeah, they were saying, like, orders cut in half, and they had ordered X amount and they just didn't get it. Mm-hmm. So it's not that there isn't potatoes; it's that the demand has gone up, right?
Yeah.
So there's still just as many potatoes and just as many chickens and just as many everything's being produced, but the demand has gotten so much higher, which is kind of going back to the shed war stuff and some of the other various challenges and whatnot. So that's where it's kind of nice when you produce your own stuff and can keep it going to a degree, because then you're not dependent. But yeah, I'm hoping we don't get 6 inches. What I suspect is going to happen, the accumulation probably is going to be that, but I imagine it's going to melt as it comes. So I don't think we're going to wake up with 6 inches of snow. But if we do, we will definitely video that.
Yeah, video to come. There we are. That should show it. Perfect.
No, that is awesome. That you're going to be ramping up on your videos. This is like the perfect time of year to start doing that too. There's so much going on.
Exactly. This is the one thing we almost are, because we've kind of designed our channel a little differently. We don't show the whole day condensed into one video. We kind of just pick something and focus on that for the day to share with you guys, and then we just get on with the rest of the day, because if we spent all of our time videoing, we would get even less achieved, which would be very bad. But it's getting to that point where there's so much going on, it's hard to pick and choose, like, what should we video today? Again, it's all great information and great things to share, and we do want to get a couple of the story kind of vlog style stuff in there, because I'm quite passionate about the vlog version.
Well, we kind of like doing
so we try and mix both, because there's a lot of informative stuff that we'd like to share, but I don't want to lose the vlog. So yeah, hopefully we're achieving that.
We're doing the balance.
Yeah. I'm going to just drop other people's links while I'm in here, and then they'll be available later for people.
Well, that's the thing that's kind of nice about doing the lives and chatting to all different people too, right? You're building that community on whatever level. It's like, that's, I guess, going back to our title, that's kind of why we are doing, obviously we're doing Shed Wars, which is much more of a global thing, but we're also doing the Garden Gurus, because that's a big umbrella, but it's also sort of more focused too down to your local region. So it's kind of that balance.
Sorry, I'm being quiet for a moment. I am not good at multitasking.
Yeah, it's amazing in spring when it can just...
And Tinker's wife, sorry if I...
Oh, yes. Hello, everybody.
Here. Yes.
You're ahead of me because you're on
I'm on
YouTube,
this one, yeah.
so you can see everybody's stuff before I do.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I don't like about StreamYard. Otherwise, I do enjoy it, but you've got that lag, which probably makes it seem, because we're terrible for getting way behind in the chat, so it probably it's
even worse.
Even worse. But
sorry, I'm just trying to quickly kind of drop. There's some great channels in here, and I do want to drop as many links as I can at the moment, so that I can then just get back into the chat. Well, I'm still in the chat.
You're still here.
I don't know. I like sharing stuff. And we love all of the channels that we follow as well. Mm-hmm. So,
well, we're all kind of doing the same stuff, right? Everybody's trying to, well, pretty much most of us are homestead or homestead related type,
or that's something that we are interested in, you know, and aspiring to get to at some point,
and all the various like subcategories of that too.
Mm-hmm. Also, another thing, since I'm actually working on, I'm going to bounce around a little bit just to keep people on their toes. But since I'm typing MB Heritage's link in here, another thing that we've just gotten involved with, which was started by MB Heritage Farms and Jules Small Gardening, is the Gardening Gurus. So if anybody in here hasn't gone and checked that out, go check out their website. I'll put it in right now.
And if any, I will say this too, because I see now, because I can see it, there's a few people that have the moderator tool thingy.
Yeah, feel free to
drop links to people that are in here or whatever, or
That one didn't show as a link for some reason. Did it work?
It's there.
It's there, but it doesn't show as a.
But
maybe I have to put HTTP in front of it.
Well, that'll still work. Hello, Katie Lake.
Hey there. How are things out in
yes, how are you
Manitoba,
guys?
Right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, it says right there.
Oh, I was watching my screen, which wasn't on YouTube right now.
I don't know if you guys in Manitoba are getting a bit of a cold weather snap too, or cold. It's kind of pretty normal.
Wow.
I'm in my box. I don't. I'm not following what's going on in the world as much as I probably should.
No, we kind of. It's like you get on and you. What were we on? We were in North Shore Preparedness's live last night, and he was talking about stuff that was going on in the U.S. And I mean, I'll be honest, we live in a bubble here. I'm not scared to admit it. I have no idea what's going on in the world because it kind of scares me, and I'd rather just live in my bubble, which I know is kind of not necessarily the best way to look at things. But
we end up with tunnel vision.
We had to then go and Google what was going on in the world after being in his life.
That's the one thing about sort of working.
There, MB's got the link up properly. Thank you very much, MB. I was struggling to get to the page anyways, it didn't like how I typed it.
But that's maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing of sort of being home all the time and working from home sort of for the normal job is you just kind of get in tunnel vision on what you sort of do daily, and it's like our biggest things are the cow's breaking the fence.
Yeah.
That's about the extent of the but I think Thorhaven's got a good idea or a good point there. Less stress that way. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. I guess it also comes from the fact that we don't go out much.
No. Well, I suppose, and there's a double-sided thing to this, but when the most stressful thing in your day is when the cows knock over a fence and chickens fly out of their coop and get into the garden, that's not that bad. That's still within your control, at least. But, yeah. I'm gonna get behind again.
That's all right. Sorry. Hi, Free Handley Maid. How you doing? Chris Dixon. Hello.
Well, it sounds like you guys have quite a bit of stuff on the go. That's awesome. I think that's the thing. Everybody right now, anybody who's growing food, this was something I was thinking about, and we may actually I'm gonna do a video of it. I think as a pondering, but it's hard work growing food. Anybody that tells you otherwise. It is definitely hard work, and this time of year when you get so much stuff going, right? Especially when you've got animals and fencing and vegetables and all that other stuff going. It's a lot of work.
Well, and it's trying not to fall behind.
Yeah, because you constantly have kind of from now until July. For us, you usually get into that sort of spiral of you kind of need to have all these things done, but you never quite get as many of them done as what you need to, and then you're always in this like catch up game. We never seem to get out of that. And moving has helped a little bit, but it's come with
more other things
because you're doing but can't wait for those kind of days chasing chickens. I don't know tonight.
Those chickens! There was discussion about getting rid of chickens completely tonight.
Oh, it's totally just in the moment.
Human error. It's completely human error. It's not the birds, and we have to just step back and remind ourselves of that.
Oh yeah, it's just our chickens are on lockdown. They're in their coops,
and they're not allowed out.
Until they're in their coops until we go out. We're gonna trim some wings because we thought we had the troublemaker grounded, but it seems like she's taught everybody how to do it. So,
and she's taught them all to dig in the raised beds.
And they beeline it for the garlic, and they're not even eating the garlic. They just
it's because the garlic has that nice mulch around them, and then it ends up that they're like, oh, there's good worms and bugs under there, and then they dig it all up, and then 50 chicken. Oh, I'm skipping ahead. Sorry. We need to make more room in the house now. Yeah, that's our
we're the
dilemma.
same, yeah.
So I was saying we're
Well,
now behind.
We were bottlenecked for a bit because we had the grow room set up, but we didn't have all the lights. So we filled the space. It wasn't warm enough to put stuff in the greenhouse. We couldn't put it. We did come up with some makeshift stuff to save our sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff we just didn't have anywhere to put it, and we've like doubled our space, which I guess is when you look at the number of peppers that we were growing. That's yeah. Hello, Chris's Clever Craft. I don't know if I said hello to you already, but
I do have to apologize if I've missed anybody. I'm trying to get everybody's links put in here. Anybody else wants to share links, let me know. I can make you moderator. I just have to swing things around a little bit. Anybody who's a moderator, if you want to share a link, go right ahead. That's not a problem. We're one of those kind of share the love type people. So give her.
Yeah.
Give her Apple River, or whatever this saying is. And I apologize because I've been trying to get Hitch-A-Chick's site up here, and I keep getting
sidetracked.
Well, I see somebody else's name come up, and I keep going.
I'm going to go back to the MBs about the eggs. That's pretty good. We've always had terrible luck with incubators, so we're waiting on the hens to do stuff. We've got one sitting, a couple accumulating, but we were discussing chicken setups and. Oh, we still have to finish out what we're doing because, they're just everywhere. Yeah, so exactly. They are on lockdown in their coops and not coming out for a couple days. Oh, yeah. Prickly ash scratches are the worst. Like, that's what we were talking about when we were looking at the back for the cattle pasture stuff that we're going to subdivide. We've got a decent perimeter fence on the one side of the property, but there's actually quite a bit of prickly ash along it. And you were like, "Oh, we need to clear it out," and I'm like, "No, because the cows won't go through it."
I'm just saying we don't need 40 feet wide.
It's not 40 feet wide. Not in some of it.
Some areas are about 40 feet wide of prickly ash. I don't need that much prickly ash for medicinal reasons, fencing reasons, or any reasons. And it just keeps spreading and spreading. So if you don't tackle it now.
Has anybody ever tried actually eating the berries off of prickly ash and got the effect of what it does?
Thank you, MB, for posting some links.
Yes, that is awesome.
And even if they duplicate, it definitely makes absolutely no difference to me. I think I've got Thorhaven next. I have not done his yet. Thorhaven, have I not made you a moderator yet?
No worries. We do the same thing, Chris's Clever Craft. We were listening to people the other night, and we end up feeling bad because when you're watching a live, like the interaction is typing, and when you're eating, you're not typing, you're just listening. So we interjected a couple of times because the conversation that we were watching was really interesting, but nobody would know we were there. We were, what do they call it, lurking?
Yeah, we were lurkers. Still counts as their time, and we still get to hear the story.
The Tinker's wife.
I did put the Tinker wife.
You can. She said she's happy to help with links.
Oh, okay. Okay, hang on then. Let me
give her a wrench.
Let me just. I've got Thorhaven's right here. Give me that.
We've never tried. I had Muscovies one year. Honey Badger's homestead. I used to raise ducks. I used to raise a lot of ducks. There was one year I had Muscovies, commercial type ruins or the non-show type ruins, Cayugas and Khaki Campbells, and I think we hatched out 120 ducklings under the hens, and it was a bit overwhelming, to be honest. And we kind of downsized from there, and we don't raise ducks anymore for different reasons. But
there we go. Hello, Arkansas Woodcutter.
Hello.
Very nice to see you. And Bomber Steve and Going Green Mom.
Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's doing well.
Sorry, I'm trying to keep up. Trying to keep up.
You can keep up, but I'll keep going through. And if something, we're trying. We're not good at this. We get talking, and then, we're the same. We're supposed to be getting snow, although I'm sure Freeham they made you getting more snow than we are, where you are. Although we will admit, Sean in Alaska, it looked like from the video we watched of yours, I think it was your most recent one, definitely looks like the snow was starting to melt when you came back from your trip. It was a lot. You could tell there was a lot less, which is pretty awesome.
I'm having a moment.
You're having a moment?
Yeah. The one that I wanted to share. Why can't I think of what it is now?
Oh boy. Try farm. Family farm?
Anyways, we're having a moment. We're having
We're having a moment.
little discussion. There's somebody I want to share their channel. MB might know their channel. Oh my gosh, this is horrible.
Plowmans. MB does know it because they're in Garden Gurus.
Yes. I want to share the Plowman. I can't think of what the last thing is. I'm searching Plowmans, and of course it doesn't come up. I want to share their channel because they have a little thing going on right now. They're actually kind of a neighbor to us, and they want to get to 100 subscribers in order for her husband to shave his beard off. And they actually got their first chickens from us 4 years ago. And so I want to support them, and I want to share. And they still have one of those chickens that they got from 4 years ago. Anyways, if you can think of who they are, MB, please post. Oh my gosh.
I can't think of the last.
And if you're in here and lurking, please say, oh, this is terrible, because I looked at it right before I got in.
Hi, Indiana Backyard
Gardener. Hey there, how you doing?
I'm caught up, although I probably missed some people's stuff in the chat.
Oh my goodness, this is just ridiculous. So
on the topic of gardens and all things gardening, how are everybody's? I've seen some stuff. I know some of us are unfortunately stuck a bit in limbo, waiting for snow and threat of snow to there you go, we were close, and threat of snow to kind of bypass us, but I know some of you are well ahead of us, and have to admit, we're always envious. But
okay, so I'm going to interject for one more moment here.
Thorhaven doesn't want to be responsible for anybody losing their beards.
You might know, maybe already.
I'm going to have to get rid of mine here sooner than later, I think, because somebody doesn't really like it.
Oh, I can't stand it.
But it is getting kind of long. So is the hair. But I usually only cut my hair once a year, so that's not too bad. I usually shave more, but I broke my razor thingy. And when you don't go anywhere, it doesn't matter. And when you do go anywhere,
only people on YouTube need to see you.
You're seeing the real thing.
The real thing, exactly. Okay, I shared right there. I shared Plowman's Backyard. This is the one that I was talking about. So they're a great little, just kind of starting out channel. I think. Let me just see how many videos they've got here. Anyways, definitely check them out if it's something that interests you. Give them a subscribe. Anyways, she was trying to get to 100 subscribers in order to have her husband shave her beard.
His beard.
Having a moment. But yeah, they've kind of recently just started posting quite a few videos in the last sort of 3 weeks time frame. And they've got a gardening and the chickens, and like we were saying, they got their original chickens from us. So anyways, that was my little plug, but it'd be kind of cool because they're trying really hard to get there. I'm back now. We're good.
Yeah, I can't do a beard in the summer because it gets too hot and too itchy and too whatever. I like it in the winter, but I can't do it in the summer.
Yeah.
So it'll eventually go regardless. But yeah.
Wow, we've really digressed from gardening to animals to beard talk.
Yeah, but
he really should do the bearded up thing, because you actually have left it growing for you
longer than
I don't know. I never looked up what the bearded up challenge was. I know Vanilla Gorilla. Yeah, they were participating in that. I should look it up and see, because maybe that'd be a reason to keep with your commitment on that.
See how big I can get it.
Wow, but they must have been growing for a long time to be that.
Yeah, but mine hasn't been growing for very long.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it does. That's where it's kind of nice to, help people out.
Yeah.
Just get them out there. I mean, they're doing some stuff very similar to what a lot of us are doing. And
yeah,
this is the thing that I go back to all of these collaborations that we're involved in, and there's a bunch of them. I put them all in the title of this live this morning, but I'm definitely up for chatting about any of them, so we can chat about what
or any other one, any other kind of things that other people are involved in. Like we're doing the Garden Gurus, and we've started the Eastern Ontario Gardeners, the Canadian Seed Challenge, and Shed Wars. But I mean, what else is everybody getting involved in for this growing season? Because that's kind of exciting, and you never know if there's something else we want to add to the plate.
Well, I think the coolest thing about all of it is growing your food, whether it's plants, fruit, vegetables, animals, fiber stuff. Well, fiber's not food, but growing anything, harvesting all of that stuff that fits into that huge big umbrella of just doing stuff that supports yourself is super, super important. Hello, Kirsty does gardening. So I think the more you're sharing, talking about it, whatever, the better it is.
I'm gonna digress for one more second again. Sorry, I'm branching all out here because I keep thinking of things, and if I don't spit them out, the conversation keeps going, and I don't. Yeah, they're okay. There you go. So you can submit it. You should see if you can keep that white bit in the center going. It really is accentuated on the camera here.
I got the white bit in the center and then on the sides.
Yeah, you're getting a bit of gray in there. Going to go back for 1 second because Thorhaven was in here, and I'm not sure if there were any other. I've bounced around. I'm not sure if they've come or gone. Some other Canadian channels in here, but with the Garden Gurus, we did start an Eastern Ontario Gardeners Club. Which if anybody's interested in participating in the Garden Gurus and would like to join our club, I believe, and MB can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm only going to go into this for a second. You can join multiple groups. So we had somebody join our group from Nova Scotia, Rem's Family Farm. Just there really wasn't anything else in Canada to join to, but we did explain that if somebody starts one in his region or if he wants to start one later on, that we're not offended if you leave the club, but if you want to be part of the club for now so that we're all kind of getting into the groove of it or be part of multiples, feel free to send us a note and we can send you the link to join up. Or I'm pretty sure if you even just join the Garden Gurus, there's a spot where you can sign up for different clubs. So that was my one plug on that. And if anybody's interested, I can share the link in the chat if anybody wants it. But we'll just move on from that.
Yep, I'm getting behind in the chat.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I'm going to go back. Gold leaf, I'm not sure what that plant is, the Tinker's Wife. I'll have to ask you more about that.
Where's your notepad?
You had the notepad.
Oh.
Yeah, trying to keep it simple right now. I think that's
the recipe book there.
The handy dandy notepad.
And your pen's there.
Pen's there.
What was it called?
Gold leaf. I'm going to write this down. Gold leafed feverfew. Yeah, something else to look up. Definitely agree. Try and keep it simple is good. Chicken question. Maybe somebody's already answered this, Sean, but if they're coming as day olds, I'm not sure. Yeah, if they're coming as day olds, I would probably suggest something like paper towel for the first little bit because it gives them a little bit of traction.
Yeah, they don't slip and slide.
And they also don't eat it because if you're getting chicks from somewhere, they tend to, I don't know, they take a little bit to acclimatize and just get used to everything, right? But you'll probably end up graduating to like a shavings type thing, maybe within 2 weeks? Kind of tops. Maybe only be like a week and a half. But the paper towel is nice because it's a bit absorbent. And
also, when they kick food out, it doesn't get lost.
They can still go back and get it. You'll probably have to. I don't know how many you're getting, but you'll probably have to change it periodically.
It will get messy.
Yes, you definitely should check it out, Thorhaven. Yeah,
lurking is just fine, Pete. Thank you very much. We appreciate it all the same.
Thank you for coming in. That's awesome. And just being here. But
that's going to bring me.
That's the one thing. Like, okay, I'm gonna step back for a moment.
You're going to digress now.
I'm going to digress for a moment, but like we're obviously participating in Garden Gurus, and I really like a lot of the format things about it. And thank you very much, MB, for you guys putting it together because I think it's going to be an awesome thing.
It's going to grow and it's going to be.
But
awesome.
I also do think, and I'm not getting into some of the weeds on things, but I think Shed Wars still has its place too. They're just different and for different reasons. Like I say time and time again, the thing that attracted me the most, or us, I shouldn't say just me, to Shed Wars was that keeping track, because then you're in competition with yourself.
And you're actually forced to stay keeping track. That's our thing. It's like we start keeping track at the beginning of the year. It's kind of like finances. And then, you get busy and you don't anymore. And then it's gotten to the point where, I missed so much. There's no point. So the Shed Wars tracking was awesome. We were like so motivated on that. And I do think we have a lot of great stuff to share as our garden season comes along too.
Yeah. So and I don't know. There's lots of great people that are participating. Like that's how we've met MB and Jules and whatnot. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. Kind of trying to keep on the positive of everything, because I think keeping on the positive is way better than. Anyways, leave it at that.
Yes. So Sean Alaska's getting 12 chicks. So
that's
awesome.
not too bad. That's manageable. Like we used to, when the few times we've purchased chicks to build our flock, you just kind of pick them up. They hate it. You pick them up, move them into another container, clean the bedding out, and you can put down the new paper towel.
Mm-hmm.
Nice part is it's all compostable, etc. So you want to avoid things that are slippery because they can slip and slide pretty good. That's just something that we found. Some people do it on wire. We never really have, but then when you've only got a small group, and I would say 12 is still a pretty small group. It's manageable. It's when you start getting bigger groups, it gets a little harder.
So I'm going to go back to because your thing skipped ahead, but so feverfew is a medicinal plant. I see their Indiana Backyard Gardener and Tinker's Wife were talking about that a little bit. So I'm excited to kind of look into that because we're trying to, I would almost call that kind of a herbal plant, I guess.
Yeah, that's
and we're interested
like
in really starting to get into that a bit more. I also really want to do my tea garden this year. So fingers crossed we get organized enough to do that.
More things on the list.
I know. Oh, the list.
We are in Eastern Ontario.
Yeah,
so,
we're near Kingston.
Yeah, kind of not exactly between, but if you had to pick a spot in space and time, we're kind of between Kingston and Ottawa time-wise.
Yeah.
But not directly between, but yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, MB. We are genuinely like so excited for the Garden Gurus thing. Same way we are still so excited about the Shared Wars. It's just so fun getting into this stuff, and as our channel grows and you're involved in more things and pulled more directions, it's kind of neat to see all the different things that come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Well, and I know for us, it's like we're kind of just doing what we were doing anyways. But the fun part is now we're videoing it and sharing it, and yeah, I think it's like going green, Mom. You know,
oh yeah,
records. That's kind of how we started.
And that's one of the things too. Even for us, like we've been.
Hello, I always say this right. Me and you, Acres. Yes,
yes,
right.
Me and you, Acres. Mike and Angie. What was I saying?
Totally lost it. But yes, I see another thing too.
What was it?
Sean, lost it. Yes, Sean, definitely stay away from slick floors with your chicks. What kind of chicks are you getting, by the way?
We've got so much going on. I have no idea what's going on.
That's what makes it fun.
It was totally. I think
records,
it was talking
records.
about something with MB there. Oh.
Records, the kinds you keep, not the kinds you listen to.
Oh boy, do people even have those anymore?
I think so, yeah. We don't, but...
no, but anyways, now it's just like my mind is completely blank. I don't know what happened. Oh, well.
That's actually quite funny. Haven't we done something similar? It's like the Hickorycroft beds. Because we usually end up long and thin and it looks like you buried somebody under it.
Oh, yeah. Or if not, it looks
we
like
never have.
Looks like you could bury somebody under it.
Oh, boy. Trying to keep up. There you go.
I butchered your name in the. Oh, this is MB's. Yes, me and you, right?
I'm terrible because it's like a visual thing. I know what your channel name is, but I want to say mini you. It's just the way it looks in my brain when I'm reading it.
Mini
it's kind of
you?
funny. Yeah. It's totally not right, but it's probably from.
Tell it, what was the U for again? Because it's this is how I remember it. Mike, M-I, and Angie, A-N. So Mike.
Hello, come on, homesteading.
That's how I remember it anyways. Hey, come on.
It definitely does get fun. I don't know. We've kind of been coming to enjoy these weekly lives because there's always really good conversation. So we definitely appreciate everybody who.
Sorry, I'm going back to find what I was talking about.
Oh boy, this is jumping ahead of me big time.
Oh, Going Green Mom. I'm not sure if MB maybe picked up on your comment. I found it. So you said you were interested in learning more about what it was, but you're not Canadian. If you're talking about the Garden Gurus, then definitely still go check it out because it's actually, I would say it's worldwide, but right now it's a lot more American based. I don't know if there's any other clubs forming in Canada yet, but it is growing. So
I think there was some people joined from the UK, wasn't there? So it's coming.
Yeah, there were some UK ones, I believe.
Yeah, it's like I say, totally see it that that's not what it is, but that's just where my brain goes. So you think you might actually try like separate meat birds from like the broiler type ones? We've talked about this before. That's something we've never actually grown. We've always done the dual purpose heritage type birds. Kind of for going back to the very beginning of this live, we were talking about the rabbits, and the more you can get out of them, the more benefit it seems like you get. But that's kind of why. It's just something we've always done, or how we've always done it. It's like the old school way. Use your birds for everything.
Yes, as Going Green Mom says there, and I think I saw somebody else had posted as well, but please hit the thumbs up button. Just do a little plug.
Oh,
I don't ever really worry about it all that much, but it is nice. So thank you.
Yeah, it's their last name.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I always remember the Mian. Yeah. I always get it. Ha ha. What do we got here? You've probably skipped so far ahead.
Oh, there we go. They've got the button didn't click. They've got Australia, UK, and New Zealand. So there you go. So it's already starting to spread pretty good.
Very nice.
Which is good. And
okay, so MB, if you don't mind, can you post the link again for Going Green Mom? Because when I did it, it did not work properly. But that could be because I'm now logged in as us instead of my thingy account.
It's a website, kind of like I'm going to butcher this, but like a forum type website, and that's kind of being built upon. But it's also like a hashtag that you can use on various
all forms of social media. We've got it on Instagram and our Facebook posts, and also on YouTube.
And you just want, if you're using the hashtag, you just want it to be more educational. It's not that I'm going to say it's not that you can't include a little bit of other stuff in your videos, but it's not really. It's it's a teaching tool to be able to find that kind of content. So like we're starting a series on seed saving because that's something we talk about a lot. And
thank you, Tinker's wife, and also MB for posting this.
Yes, thank you. And so we're using the hashtag Garden Gurus because we kind of feel that's pretty educational, but it can be anything garden related. Which is,
I think it's just one of those things. It's almost, and I apologize if I word it this way and it's not the way it's actually intended, but it almost feels a little bit like a Reddit forum, but only for gardening.
A little different, but a lot more.
But like that layout's kind of the same, where like if you have a question, you post it, or if you want to chat, or if you have a classified, I know that's coming, that's not developed yet, but you post it there. And there's little things, and then you can it's kind of like a little chat station, and a good place to kind of get your questions answered, or also like say you have extra seeds you want to share, you can just put it there and see who needs them so that you could send them out. Things like that.
YouTube's a good community, but at the same time, this can be a little broader because not everybody's on YouTube. And,
it's nice to have it span
it's not just
other
open to people
mediums.
who use YouTube. It's open to everybody.
Yeah.
So if you garden, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be just vegetables. Excuse me. Even some flower stuff is still gardening and still useful.
Flower, I think, is great, useful. Yeah.
It's kind of a catch-all
for
all that, but just with a purpose of trying to be informative, because there's a lot of information floating around there, floating around everywhere, and people have different.
Thank you so much for coming in, Full-Time Dream.
Yes, thank you.
We really appreciate that, and I hope you have a great rest of the night.
And same to you, Urban Girl Gardening.
And before anybody else starts to leave, because we have everybody in here, one thing we did want to mention, we did mention it right at the beginning, but there's only a couple people in here. We're going to be changing to 9 o'clock on Tuesdays instead of 8:30s. With the days drawing out and gardening stuff happening and stuff around the homestead, we're finding it really, really tough to cut things short to make it to the 8:30. Yeah. So we will be changing to 9 o'clock as of next week, but still every week, just we're not going to be till 9. Yeah. So hope that works for everybody. Yay!
As far as the dual purpose stuff, Sean, this is a bigger topic. It's never a simple answer. This is my opinion. Anything in the dual purpose is kind of like you say, you can eat them after they stop laying. Definitely. They're big enough to make them kind of worthwhile, because it's like a leghorn, right? There's not a lot on a leghorn, but they lay amazing. So dual purpose is kind of that compromise, but there's a spectrum in there on dual purpose. It's kind of a catch-all basket, so to speak. It's become a catch-all basket of birds that run the gamut from being pretty good layers to reasonable meat birds and vice versa, right? So there's quite a spectrum there.
And I was going to say, you've got it so that it keeps running. So scroll back up, but just put Thor's up there to him. Well, you went past it. Go there, right? That's that one. So we raise the same. We raise the Chanticleers as well. We do the partridge. I believe they do the white, right?
Yeah, they have both.
Oh, you've got both. And a great dual purpose bird for sure. I think the white ones are actually end up being a larger bird than the partridge. Is that not right, Maren?
I think it depends.
I think so.
See the Chanticleers, this is a Canadian breed thing, but from my knowledge of them, and I've been working with the partridge variety for a while, and I know a few people that have the whites, they're a great example of that spectrum because they're considered the same breed under the standard, but they really aren't related.
Yeah.
They just have similar characteristics. But this is my opinion. The white was developed as kind of an egg layer first, meat bird second. The partridge was more of a meat bird first, egg layer second. So they're not exactly identical. That being said, they're both great options for a dual purpose flock.
Yeah. And it depends on what you want to, because I think each, we do similar to what Thorhaven is saying there. I mean, basically we eat the roosters. We often eat them younger because we don't like to have them all crowing, which does make them a really nice roosters, tender meat.
Yeah, they usually get bigger.
You know, they're kind of we keep them for egg laying purposes, and often we're not keeping them much unless they're a real great broody hen or something. We're not keeping them much past the 2-year range. And then we are eating them more as like MB was saying later on. I saw his comment about the soup bird. Basically, once you've had them for the 2-3 year mark of egg laying, that's pretty much all you're going to get with the heritage ones for sure. But they do still, we find the roosters and that are fantastic butchering them young, and they work great for, you know, the multi-purpose anyway.
Well, and we're I don't know, the partridge Chanticleer has Cornish in their history when they were developed, so they you can definitely see the influence. Let's put it that way. Yeah, Australorps are actually I almost went with Australorps. I kind of narrowed it down to the partridge Chanticleers, Barred Rocks, and Australorps for various reasons of availability and whatnot, and definitely. Obviously went with the partridge Chanticleers and stuck with it, but they would have been a pretty close second. But yeah, I've heard with the whites there. I've heard with both the whites and the partridge Chanticleers, like there's quite a variation. I will admit the partridge seems to be the rarer of the two, but my friend, I got a couple of videos we did as kind of a collaboration. My friend who raises them, Miles, who also has a channel. Actually, I should put his up there. I don't know if you can find it, but he's not in here. But anyways, he's been raising them for quite a while too. And something we've kind of noticed collectively over time is with the partridge variety, those who keep them tend to keep them for a long time. Whereas I've known quite a few people, this is going back before I even had poultry, that they got into the whites, but then they didn't stick with it. So you've got a few, it's funny. The history of how things evolve with livestock is kind of.
I've already copied and pasted in another window. So we'll take a look at that after. Thank you very much, Fatty. Sorry, I always never know whether to call people by their names or their channel.
Yeah, when we're in lives, I always do it with the tag to the person's channel name just so that they can see it. But I always kind of feel bad because some people use their names, but then it's like, did they miss it? Did they want you to advertise their name? I don't know. You never know. So, but anyways, I did open that link in another tab, so we can check that out after. To be honest, Kirsty, it depends. I think our oldest one right now is 5 or 6.
She'd be 6 this year.
She's 6, so we still have a 6-year-old.
Now we're saying we're skeptical that she's laying more than every couple days now.
She was doing good last year though.
Yeah,
so
last year she laid a whole nest and sat it and had, you know.
And she's got really nice characteristics of the breed. She's a big hen. She
always has gorgeous babies.
Yeah, she's good young, so we kept her for a long time. But it really depends. We select really heavy.
Yeah.
We're actually probably going to do a bit of a selection here coming up soon. Because we've got the one group that keeps jumping the fences. We're like, there's too many of them, and we're going to go through.
Something's got to go.
We're going to go through, and we're going to do vent checks and see who's laying, and if there's anybody who's not laying,
they're gone.
They're gone. Sounds really bad, but in the long run, that helps your flock big time.
improves your flock for sure.
That's why we moved in the first place.
Yes.
The rooster chorus.
The rooster
Doesn't
chorus
really bother us,
caused problems with the neighbors, and we ended up having to move or remove our animals. So we moved, and now we're always no, because we're all it's the sky's the limit for him now, because he's like, oh, we got 40 acres, we can do whatever we want. But it's always still in the back of my mind about the neighbors, because we still have neighbors, and you don't want to piss anybody off. So it sounds really crazy, but we limit ourselves to 5 or 6 roosters, which is still a ridiculous amount.
Yes, but they're all unrelated and allows us to keep it going. And that's that's the one thing that we really do like is, it's getting hard to get some stuff and we don't need to. So it's, I don't know, it pays off to think about some of that stuff. I'll kind of leave it at that.
We've never actually done the meat birds. But then because with the partridge chanticleers, because we keep so many lines, we have 30 hens, and we usually want them to produce at least 50 babies to allow us to select really well. So we often find, even if they're maybe not as big as a meat bird, because we put 20 or 30 in the freezer a year, it really doesn't matter, because we're getting what we wanted out of it. But it was earlier today, we were talking about the going forward on meat production and what we might be able to do with that as far as sales and things like that. And just kind of, it's something that we've never really tried, so it's hard to make a judgment on whether meat birds would be beneficial or not for us.
I don't think they would.
I know, but
that's my opinion. But I definitely to keep tooting the partridge chanticleer horn. Definitely like them. I think the one thing too is by having the pattern they do, they attract a lot less attention from like aerial predators and stuff compared to the whites. The whites stick out.
Yeah,
that's one thing I will say. But yes, you can definitely use a crock pot, and it'll make it. Well, crock pot pretty much makes anything tender.
Yeah, I do mine in the big cast iron. What is that called? Dutch oven. And we do ours. Are we talking about older chickens?
Yes.
I do. In the bottom, 2 cups of really strong white wine, a whole bunch of garlic and onions, and then I just cover it and let it sit in all these herbs and whatnot for hours, and then just bake it with the lid on tight. And it cooks up really yummy. Doesn't matter how old the bird is.
Well, that's something going back to the partridge chanticleers. We've had roosters that in that breed, because I have butchered other heritage breeds and other dual purpose breeds, but the partridge chanticleers, the roosters stay tender and white, and they don't have the dark of what you would anticipate with a rooster up to about 30 weeks. So they'll stay for quite a. That's pretty long.
Yeah, well, they're usually 7 or 8 months butchered. 7 months at the latest, I think, that we butcher them.
At the latest, yeah.
And that's usually with somebody's become a problem by that point.
It's telling whether they're laying. You kind of look at the vent, and it's kind of hard to describe. But if
there's a video.
Maybe
MB might, if MB has a video on that already, because he's another chicken expert, definitely post a link on it. But
you can look, like usually it's almost like the bigger and the poofier the vent, for lack of a better way to put it, the more likely they're laying. You can also look at their abdomen and stuff a bit too.
Well, I imagine certain breeds are probably a lot easier to tell on than others because of body structure.
That would be crowing all night long. That would be kind of annoying.
Yeah. Well, and this is where we used to live. That was part of the problem, because we weren't the only people in the neighborhood with chickens, and the other neighbor's rooster was, how to word it, they had an outdoor light on at nighttime that would come on, and then the rooster would crow in the middle of the night. I guess it was probably a sensor or something which started the whole. Anyways, it's a long-winded story that maybe one day we'll share it.
I thought we did kind of share.
Well, we kind of shared it, but
we shared bits and pieces.
Yeah. Anyways, the problem was that the roosters were crowing all night, because her roosters would crow, and then our roosters would crow, and then the whole neighborhood would go wild.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
made for fun times. But 4 molting hens, and they attack the non-molting hens. I don't know if I'd say that's normal. Sometimes they can, when they're molting, they can get really cranky. That could be what it is. I'm kind of guessing here. That's really the only thing I could think of, unless they're maybe a breed that's more aggressive. Like there are some breeds that are more aggressive than others.
Mm-hmm.
But sorry, not a ton of help there, unfortunately.
Well, the other thing though, like we had the one there that was they weren't molting. She was just picking at the one.
Well, that happens too.
And then she got called, but.
Yeah, I can see that. That's the one thing. This is something that goes back. We talk about this all the time when you're growing your own food, and especially animals, and you're harvesting them. This is going to sound bad. The animals that you have a lot of, chickens, rabbits, a lot of the other poultry. Heck, I'm even going to go so far as once you get enough sheep or you've got lots of piglets or something, I'm not going to say you don't feel good about it, other than you're feeding yourself. That part you do, but you don't feel good about it. But it's, at least for me, it's that kind of notion. There's always more because you keep it going. I find it hard with the bigger the animal, the fewer than we have. It's kind of like,
or the longer. It's like the cow. You have to hang on to that animal for a lot longer, and you get an attachment. Yeah. Similar to any other pet, so to speak.
Even males. I mean, we just sent our last mature ram to the butcher last week, and so we just got him back actually today.
Mm-hmm.
But now he was really well behaved, and that kind of made it hard. But at the same time, because of their horns, his one horn wasn't spaced enough from his head. Eventually, it was going to cause a problem.
It was already causing an irritation.
It was already touching, but
it was enough that when you went to pet his face, he would toss his head at you because you're touching his cheek or above his eye hurt because the horn was pressing on it. So we knew it wasn't going to.
And that's.
But he was 2.5 years old.
Yeah.
And he was such a pet. But
at the same time,
a pet with a purpose.
Yeah. I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, I'm going to just go back to the Hitchachicks one about the Bantam Silkie that crows. I often wonder if people just wonder in our videos, because between the 6 roosters, I don't think 20 seconds goes by without a rooster crowing.
Or possibly a goose. There's a lot of geese.
Goose. Well, the geese are talking a lot right now because it's breeding season. But the rooster crowing, I just often wonder if people go, holy cow, in our videos, because it's just, we actually have to edit around roosters crowing because you can't cut a rooster off mid-crow. So you either have to edit before the crow or after the crow. That's how our editing works.
Yeah, that's a very good point. We actually had a weird situation where we had one of the coops, which was actually the previous owner had here, has no floor in it. So there was just mice getting in, like regular
field mice.
And the one hen, she's on the roost, and she was letting them pick feathers off of her, and it happened pretty quick. Anyway, so she ended up with this funny bald patch. And going back to the roosters crowing, when the mice would come in, well, this is what we figured was going on. They'd come in the middle of the night and kind of agitate everybody. The rooster would start crowing, so it'd be like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
and it'd be crowing,
and it'd be like, oh gosh, the roosters are going. So then we started making like.
Well, we covered it. It took us a while to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
Anyways, we figured it out. We moved them. But the other hen, because it was a trio, the other hen basically picked up the feather eating habit.
Yeah, she started picking at her. And
yep. Then she started picking the rooster off, or feathers off. So she unfortunately had to go.
Yeah.
Some crazy editing. It's funny. I don't know. We played around with putting music in some of them, and some of them were okay, some of them weren't. But it's almost the ambience of the farm is almost
better than
worth it, because there's always something making noise.
It's either sheep baaing or the geese carrying on, or roosters, or
just more wild birds.
We have a lot of wild birds too. Yeah, the blue jays and the other stuff are always going too.
Yeah, there's always something.
15 roosters. She has us beat.
Well, we've had that when they're young. It's always funny when they're young and they're trying to grow.
When they're learning and they're like, and you're just like, oh gosh, we're It sounds like we're squeezing necks or something.
It sounds like Hits a Chick's third one might be. Is it younger? Because they make some pretty.
Yeah, the
funny,
honking, exactly. That's how it sounds. It's hilarious. Oh.
At least the cats are not making noise.
Well, you say that, and then it's like
our cats haven't made an appearance tonight.
No, they are avoiding
Hello,
us.
Will It Grow.
Hey, Will It Grow, how you doing? Not my neck of the woods. Thinks he's a goose.
Yeah. Well, we had that one. We were looking at the one goose nest in the barn, and the little group of chickens that are in the barn started trying to lay eggs in the goose nest. It's like that's not going to work.
Speaking of the devil.
Yeah, the cat.
I have crows and cars and motorcycles.
Yeah, we get a little bit of that because we're not too far.
Yeah,
but,
well, we're about what 100 meters.
The front of our house.
100 meters back from the road, maybe.
Something like that. No, I definitely agree. You get used to the noises, and then you realize when something's odd, when they're not making their normal noises or whatever. Like what was it the other day? The raven, and it was our error. I'd left a container of eggs that I'd collected out
on a pedestal right there for the raven. He was like, "Oh, somebody left me a gift."
Well, anyways, the one group of chickens that was in a coop and couldn't get out, they were flipping out, and we're just like, "What are they doing?" And then we look out the window, and sure enough,
and I said, "What's the raven doing?" Yep. And Chris is like, "Oh, I left the eggs out."
Yeah, so we rectified that pretty quick. Yeah. Go and get the eggs before you get them all. Yeah, 7-week-old.
Struggle with cats fighting in the background. That's funny. What were we? We were videoing something because around our place we have so many wildcats.
A lot less than there was. A lot less,
yeah, because the neighbor and us have slowly been catching and spaying and neutering any that we could basically catch. So we're getting less and less of them, but it's funny because there's been a few videos where it's like, oh, cat fight, and off in the distance there's random cat fights in the background. Yeah. All our neighbors have sled dogs. Yeah, they can be noisy. Mm-hmm. Are they like proper sled dogs or like the hound type sled dogs? That's what you see a lot of here. People for the sledding use hounds.
Yeah. I wonder if that's the northwestern crow. Because there are different kinds of crows. It could actually be a different
don't get them started. It's like plants, different species of.
You can get really off on different. Yeah, you definitely have this.
Oh yeah, you guys all beat.
As far as
I would love to see a lynx, not maybe in my chicken coop or something, but I would love to see a lynx in the wild.
I've seen one in the wild before. I've seen lynx and bobcat. I've seen a lot of stuff in the wild.
Yeah. But you've traveled a lot to those kind of places for work and things.
Yeah, I've been all over Ontario. But
I live a sheltered life.
Mm-hmm. We've got a pair of red-tailed hawks here right now. But
yeah.
Kind of all things birds. You're
a nerd.
Yes. Was it the last live that I got called a nerd?
Yeah, Tinker's wife said
that's right. Nerds. That's right.
About the plants, the seed-saving nerd.
Well, at least it's useful stuff.
Yeah, I suppose.
Whether it's plant identification of like wild plants, that's useful.
Yeah.
Knowing how to save seeds and whatnot, that's useful.
Yes.
I don't know. You get a little too crazy with it potentially, but kind of looking forward to our next seed saving one. Well, we're got one for tomorrow, so the one after that. This is the problem with the editing and doing the videos, because in your mind you're like, oh yeah, we did that already, and it's like, no, it hasn't come out yet.
Yeah. No.
Which is kind of funny, but we're gonna do the first one we're gonna really get into is tomatoes.
Yeah,
because that's a pretty good accessible one for everybody, and something you actually can save seeds from quite easily. Mm-hmm. Tomatoes are like that one thing that I will be honest, I kind of don't understand why more people don't save seeds, because it's so easy, and it's so easy to keep multiple varieties. Like you can have the variety, whereas some of the other plants you can't.
She wrote the bird. wrote for Birds and Blooms magazine. Cool.
Oh, very cool. I think I've actually possibly read some of those. Not necessarily yours, but I think I have seen that magazine before.
Oh, don't he could. He could.
I can also talk to you about velocities of water traveling through a culvert and how that affects fish passage if you'd like. That's my other.
That is one of the downsides of working from home, is that he has nobody intelligent to talk to about that sort of stuff. So I get to listen to that sort of stuff. And it's amazing how quickly you can get good at shutting stuff out. It's like, oh, you were talking?
It's useful information.
It's very useful.
What if you want to put a culvert?
I don't even have a culvert. We don't even have a ditch.
That's true.
Where are we going to? We won't need a culvert. Well, maybe at the back in the swamp. But calls her garden nerd.
That's the thing. Tomatoes are really easy as long as you don't get into the potato leaf varieties. You can keep them pretty close and still keep them kind of pure. So you can have paste tomatoes and cherry tomatoes and plum tomatoes, and that's why there's so many. Followed very closely by beans.
Yes.
Yes, this is when I blank out of the conversation.
See, she says, you got the nerd gene in spades there. Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny.
That's your biologist ways.
Yeah. John thinks it's funny though.
Yes. I'll tell you what is quite funny is I'm going to go to the bird thing for a moment. But when we first started dating, Chris took me on a date to the sewage lagoon.
That's a great place to see birds.
It was a great date. A great date. I got covered in wood ticks. It was smelly.
And you saw some really good birds.
And I saw some good birds. But that was my thing.
I missed the last part.
Night, Thorhaven. Thank you guys for coming in.
Yes, thank you.
Have a great night. We'll see you next week. And if you get a chance and you want to check out the Garden Gurus thing, you can just send us a note or let us know, and we'll hook you up with a link.
And we're looking forward to your Shed Wars videos up and coming.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm very curious.
And I'm still curious on whether the bull's going to count.
Well, he's within the time frame. It's just whether or not, I won't get into that.
And do you have a way to weigh it?
Oh, you can do it in pieces.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Potato leaf tomatoes, they're not harder to grow. They have for lack of a better way to put it, they have a more complete flower. So it's more accessible to insects, which means you have to keep them further away from each other and technically further away from normal tomatoes. Like if you grow them right next to them, they'll still cross-pollinate because they are still all the same species, which is where the biologist nerdy part comes in. Sorry, I'm always getting a little bit behind. Oh boy, I'm really behind.
It's okay. Just keep calm.
Keep calm and keep comments. Have a good night,
Chris Clevercraft. Thank you for coming in. Oh.
See, there you go. The birds were nice. It was a Hudsonian Godwit.
Yes, the birds were fantastic.
And they were full breeding plumage too.
They're very pretty, and we got some really nice
Hudsonian
photos.
Godwit and red fowl ropes, which was an awesome one. And they were like
for at least for Canada in our location.
For our area,
that's a good bird.
Those are good birds. Dinner and movie.
Thanks very much, Robert. We appreciate it. We just kind of keep going and running on, and
that's what we do. What do you want to talk about? We can talk about
anything. Woo! I think we were supposed to be talking about gardening. Now, this is a great comment. Click that one up there. So glad Mike is now on board.
Yeah,
this is going to be great.
That's a big thing.
I see some seed swaps going on. Me and New Acres, for anybody who doesn't follow their channel, I should put the link up, which I will in 1 second. I'll finish my thought first. But they're practically neighbors for us, too. They're about a little less than a 2-hour drive. I want to say.
You'd be somewhere
it depends which way you go. But definitely another great Canadian channel that is getting into the full swing of homesteading, has goats, and now going to have a huge garden. Which is awesome. And yes, food prices are insane. We went to, I buy this will sound really bad since we set up a whole grow room to grow lettuce and are epically failing at it, which we should document on YouTube.
We just don't have.
We haven't mastered it
lettuce
yet.
takes this whole cyclic thing, and we're not there yet.
We're failing. We are failing at growing lettuce. Anyways, went to Superstore, bought lettuce. We usually get the big club pack of romaine lettuce hearts, and it's $4.89 normally? Anyways, it was $6. So I know that's only one thing, but it's something that in a 2-week period that's gone from $4 something to $6. It's $1.50 more.
Well, we were, without getting too doomy and gloomy, we were in North Shores Live and kind of mentioning like the prices won't go down. That's the big thing, right? And this is
once people get used to spending it, they won't
go down. So you might as well. And this is where it all kind of comes full circle. It's learning how to garden, but also the other parts of, if you can do it, the livestock stuff is helpful too. Saving seeds, succession planting, doing food forests, and the longer term permaculture stuff. Like they're all steps that they become this big conglomerate of. We just need to do it all. We need more people doing as much of that sort of stuff as they possibly can. Keeping in mind that some things are you're going to see the benefit a lot sooner than others. But the food forest kind of being the permaculture idea being probably the longest term, but the most productive in the long term. But it takes so much planning and
thought. Oh, Tinker's wife, you beat me.
That's because you were talking. She's doing awesome. Oh.
Thank you very much for posting links. I really appreciate it.
Well, there you go. Hit chick first date. She got a racquetball in the eye, a black eye.
Oh, yeah. No, that's okay. Well, ball in the eye, blood-sucking wood ticks. I don't know. There's kind of an equal comparison there.
Hello, doing redneck things. Sorry, we're just getting down.
We're catching up here.
Catching up. I hate it when it jumps ahead like that. You like what is it?
It's the 5 different toes. Sorry, is that where you were? Okay, I'm going to ask a silly question here because I haven't put 2 and 2 together. Going Green Mom keeps commenting to somebody named Bev, so I'm trying to figure out who's Bev. Only because I'd like to eventually figure out who, you'd like to know who everybody is. So I'll read your comment further down to find out who is Bev because it'd be fun to know. I'm getting a little bit better with people's names. It takes like 5 or 6 times in lives before something sticks for me. But
as far as the tomatoes, as a little spoiler, but if they're not a potato leaf variety, and if you're ordering stuff, they will tell you that on seed packages.
Very,
very, very few of them are potato leaved tomatoes. They're not very popular, and there's not a lot of varieties. So any other type of tomato in Canada, they only have to be about 3 meters apart to make sure that they don't cross.
Chicks, Bev. Hi, Bev. There we go. See? I need to write that in my notepad.
Yes, add it to the book.
Add it to the book. If I write it down, names stick better. So perfect. There we are. Thank you. Now I'm not left in mystery. But did you tell her the distance for the tomatoes?
Yes, they only need to be 3 meters.
3 meters, 10 feet roughly.
Which is not, in the grand scheme of things, by vegetable standards, that's not that bad. Or fruit at different times. That's another option. But I don't know. We're kind of and then there is some discussion on that too with separation distances because Trollford's brought up a really good. That's another channel that they follow us. We follow him.
They're another Eastern Ontario
another Canadian channel. But he brought up a good point that a lot of the separation distances are based on honeybees. And some of the native pollinators might have different distances that they can travel, etc. But I would say, at least on the tomato front, from what I've seen and what I've read, they're not super attractive. Like the flowers on them are not super attractive to insects. So I would say that 3 meters is probably still pretty conservative. Like still pretty acceptable. Whereas there are other plants that there's like squash. When they're telling you 800 meters, they're telling you that for a reason because the native pollinators are so attracted to them. If you're trying to keep them separate, but that's a whole nother thing. Yeah, I jumped ahead again. Grr.
Okay. And just wanted a gardening hubby forever. Be careful. It can be dangerous.
Nah, there's nothing dangerous about gardening.
Gardening with the hubby is like doing DIY.
We do that all the time. We do both all the time.
I know. It's risky. It's very risky. We only actually butt heads on a few things. Mostly on seed saving stuff.
Well, you're the one who's always like, "Oh, I'm just going to buy the seeds," and then
you're
the other
like,
thing,
"No, we're not buying seeds."
about saving your own seeds is they do, and I think we put it in our last video, our first video on seed saving. You will notice over time they grow more vigorously, and we've noticed that even on a few trials where we've ordered stuff from good seed companies, and you get seed pack, and half of them come up or whatever, versus the ones you saved yourselves where it's like they all come up. So there's a lot of reasons.
Hey, Drops. Sorry, he's not that far in the comments.
I'm not that far in the comments, but hello.
And I'm writing.
There's Drops.
I'm writing things down as I go.
There's some really interesting.
Doing rednecks things is Tony and Leanne.
I think I did know that.
Well, you see these names come up all the time in lives, and then we don't actually.
The sewage pond story was touching.
We've been to many a sewage lagoon.
Yep. All the best birds and all the best.
What's
birders.
the other? Oh, the dump. The dump is another. That's like,
but
that's second date material. That's not first date. The dump is second date because you can find amazing gulls.
Yes.
Before I met Chris, a seagull was a seagull. There was no other gulls. A duck was a duck. There was no other ducks. And boy, the first time I called it a seagull, look out. We almost didn't get together after that.
Oh, they're not seagulls. They're gulls. And there's
different species.
The thing about gulls is the differences are also subtle. So you really have to spend your time and look for the differences in certain plumage patterns and stuff to get the different species. That's what makes it
we're
fun.
Getting some really great first date stories.
I know.
I'm loving it.
I was just about to say that when I saw it.
I'm loving it. I'm going to finish the one other thing because we're on the gulls. So he waited till we were together, about 5 months before we went to Niagara Falls?
Something like that.
That was the ultimate gull birding trip. Because no, actually the geese might have been up there too. Anyways, I'll finish the gull birding trip. Chris is going to find out my true feelings on birds today. No, we went to Niagara Falls. Now, if anybody has been to Niagara Falls during, I don't know, is gull season all the time or is it just the winter? Just the winter, pretty much. Late fall, early spring. Probably 30,000 gulls. It's a field. Okay, 80,000 gulls. It's like a field of white flying around. And of those 80,000 gulls, 79,000 are all the same gull. And then you have the other 1,000 that you have to find in there that might be one or two different species. Mm-hmm. Hours spent looking for a needle in a haystack.
I know where you're going with the goose story. So geese are even better because when the saying on a wild goose chase, that definitely applies to birding, because when you're going to look for the rare goose in 40,000 snow geese, that's a wild goose chase. But that's another story.
Yes, we went for a pink-footed goose amongst 40,000
greater white-fronted or greater snow geese.
Yeah, a field of geese, and we were looking for one goose amongst 40,000 geese that somebody else had seen that day. So we knew it was there, and that made it even worse because you were looking for it.
I was going to say that. I noticed the comment, and we got off on birding. But the lemon balm and oregano, they shouldn't cross because they're not the same species. I'm not sure what they would. I don't know that there's too much. Like other oreganos would cross with each other because I think there's some different varieties. But I lost the original question, so I apologize. But and this is a good one too. So can goat horns be trimmed? Bit of a tricky question. Technically, yes. The goat's not going to like it. Sorry, I'm still back reading. I'm way back reading about people's first dates. Did you put Tinker's Wife's one up there? About the song about the girl cheating on him. Sorry, we're going. Everybody out there, yeah, love that. That tops us. That's really good. So I'll leave that up there. And going back to the goat horns, you can. The problem is you can usually only trim a little bit because there is blood vessels in there because it's attached to the sinus. It's not it's not a fun job, and most vets won't even do it. And you can't do it yourself to dehorn a goat when they're older. But you can sometimes cut the tips. We had a buck. Oh, we kept him. He wasn't he 5 or 6 years old by the time he finally got to the point we physically couldn't because he was too strong and we couldn't do it anymore.
We used so the thin blade that you use for
it's a hacksaw with the thin blade, and you literally just kind of cut. They can feel it, but if you do it far enough, depends on the goat, but a couple inches from the tip, you're not going to have blood vessel in there. But if you can't do it too far down, so it kind of a loaded thing. If there's skurs, they're more unpredictable. That's what ours had, where when we bought him, he was dehorned, but he still grew, because some goats really have aggressive horn buds. He still grew back skurs, and the skurs were problematic because he'd knock them off and bleed. Anyways, so it can be done, but
Tinker's wife, I did see there, also recommended the book that you love. I don't know if you already said that.
And she said yes to the dump.
Don't encourage him. Every time we go to drive to town, it's like, can we drive by the dump? Look for birds.
Well, there's another thing, going to the dump to look at bears.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when we lived in Manitoba, when I was a kid, that was what we did. You went to the dump because the black bears were always there. Sorry, but I wanted to say she'd recommended the book that you have.
I did see that. I may have actually put it up.
Oh, I'm on my own. I'm on my own computer this time.
Gulls are fascinating. Totally not a homestead related thing, but they are interesting. I'll just leave it at
that. DIY fun night or DIY IKEA style? We do not do IKEA. Except for the boxes that I want on my wall.
But yeah, that's because they were the better made.
Wood boxes. Sorry, am I ahead of you or behind you?
You're ahead of me, I think.
The drops about saving your seeds. That's good. We feel the same way. Drops about the seeds. You don't want bad seeds, so it's better to save them. Then you know what you're getting. Well, and like we said in the thing, then you're not in our recent Garden Gurus video. We said about the by saving our seeds, you're improving them every year. But then when we go and buy some, we're kind of starting back at square one. And it's not that those seeds are bad, but it is the fact that those seeds were not grown here. So they're not acclimatized. You haven't selected the ones that did best for your environment. So yeah, that's my 2 bits. The dump is a treasure hunting adventure. Not anymore at ours. You used to be able to go to the dump and people would leave things that were still of use or good or might want off to the side. And now they don't allow that at all. It has to go into the bin. Anything you take to the dump has to go into either the metal scrap bin or into bins. They don't keep anything off to the side. Like we got blue barrels there. We got some great, racks and things for the shelves and windows, if you're looking for greenhouse windows, all that sort of stuff. And now, nope, nothing now. So kind of sucks.
I'll have to look into this a little bit more because I didn't actually know that lavender was in the mint family. I'll be honest. I can't remember what that family is actually called, but I think what Tinker's wife was saying was that they're not the same genus. A lot of the stuff. I know that's anything genetic wise with plants is a bit of a loaded topic because plants do a lot of things that go against the grain of what's scientifically accepted. I'm just going to put it that way. And half the time there isn't an agreement on what the plant's actually related to. The number of times that plant scientific names or how they've got them ordered and stuff changes, and how there's never a general consensus on a lot of things. Like, red osier dogwood, there's 2 or 3 different scientific names for that are floating around that are all in use. Go figure, for the same plant that has got a very standard common name. But I'd be curious to look into this more, whether they do actually, whether they do, but just this whole crossing with some of these herbs. Because I'll be honest, the crossing of herbs is not something I've ever looked into too much, probably because in a lot of the cases we don't put a lot of effort into it because we're usually growing herbs that either well, some of them like basil, we're saving seeds, but some of them you're just kind of vegetatively propagating them, which is a whole different topic. But definitely something interesting for myself to look into.
I'm still reading. I'm still reading people's first stories. Look, did you put up Drops's one? She was stubborn, and then 6 weeks later, they were getting married.
That's pretty awesome.
Seeker's wife. Lots on Bad Influence lots to see at the dump.
Yes, yes, there is.
No.
Oh, that's too funny.
So I'm going to go back to Crucy, and I'm going to suggest as well, if any interest in the Garden Gurus and would like to be part of the, even though I know we're calling it the Eastern Ontario Gardeners, we are still opening it out to everybody else. We're just kind of keeping it, that's our vicinity, because later as clubs develop around Canada, you may decide you want to join other clubs in your area, or be member of more than one. It doesn't. And
if anybody wants to start their own club in a different part of anywhere really, but I'm kind of thinking more Canada, because I know we've got a lot of Canadians in
I should have also said that to Walsh Hills as well.
Yes, you should join.
And I meant to send you an email actually about joining our Garden Gurus, Eastern Ontario Gardeners. So I will write that down.
Drops has a good point about sunflower seeds, because we do the same thing. We actually sprout them in their sprouting mix for the chickens, and they do really well with it. But I'm always torn on sunflowers, because I like the idea of keeping things kind of pure with a purpose. But I'm very torn on growing the black oil type or like the giant striped types, because you're getting different products out of them, but you can't really grow both.
Just go up to the one ahead of that one too. Don't be terrified. The first 5, I think we were a little bit like, we made the kids do the very first video, because of course we were terrified.
They were way more eager.
They were so at ease. They did our first video ever on YouTube, and then we just dove into it full force and haven't looked back. It's been wonderful. So if you're thinking about doing it, just dive in. It is amazing, the community that is on YouTube and the support system there. So definitely do it. And if you do, let us know, and we will definitely sub and be watching.
Yes, definitely. I think it's, I don't know, everybody should do it. well, maybe not everybody.
Some people don't want to be on, and don't, but it's amazing. I thought at first, there's no way I could stand in front of the camera and talk to myself. And it's amazing how natural you can be at that.
Yep, you get pretty used to it.
It takes you back to those days as a kid in front of the mirror practicing what you're going to say.
I really started some conversation about the dump.
And I know.
And all the repurposing stuff. And just think, it's all spurred on by gulls.
Gulls. Which Homestead Aquarius further up said, seagulls equals chicken trash or something. Trash chicken, isn't that what you called it? Which definitely I would agree on. So, and he called them seagulls. But Katie did agree with you that they're gulls, not seagulls.
And they're actually quite fascinating when you get looking into some of the biology and stuff.
I mean, gull. Like, I almost get as excited about that as when I see an owl.
Yes, but to put it in perspective, a ring-billed gull, which is like the most synonymous gull with Eastern North America. There's one that was recently photographed, and he had a band on him, and he was 23 years old. He's a wild gull. Like, that's pretty impressive. I always say this when you see big flocks of gulls and people go, oh, there's so many of them. It's like, you're seeing the same birds over and over again, because they live forever. Yeah, I definitely find the same thing. The black oils do really well. And I looked into that. Most of the black oil sunflower varieties that are used in production are all, what's the name of it? Starts with a P, the original variety of black oil. They're all derived from it, so there's not a big difference, but they are quite derived from the striped sunflower varieties. I wish I could remember the name of it.
Sorry, I'm going back quickly. I don't know if you already talked about it and I missed it, but Walsh Hills asked about what program you use for editing. What's it called again? Lightworks.
Lightworks. Yes, which I find it takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you get the hang of it,
and we're cheap. It's a free program.
Yep.
You just download it. You can get a paid version. We refuse to pay for a paid version, so we just use the free version and find it does pretty much everything that we need it to do.
Mm-hmm.
At least when we go back and watch our videos, they don't look too bad. Chris is a great editor. I'm cut off from editing.
Well, I don't know about that.
I'm cut off.
Oh, and they said they're in for the seed things. That's awesome. So we'll get you the information.
Send the link.
We can put it up again, but
have I put it up? I haven't actually put it up.
Yes, I do agree. Tinker's Wife taxonomy is, I'm always amazed, and actually this bleeds directly into it. I should do a video on this, but like taxonomy is organizing wild things, and you have some groups like birds that it's, I'm going to say it, pretty well organized, even though I know there's discrepancies on where the species boundaries lie. Then you go into plants, where it's kind of just a cluster, because exactly like you say, it's all over the place. And then you switch to domesticated stuff, where it's like the rules suddenly change, and they don't. It's the same principles. The only difference is a human has intervened and said, I want a tomato to grow with bigger fruit than it would normally do. And I think this is one of the things about seed saving that people don't think about too. This is an opinion piece again, but with like random crossing, if you're selecting, it doesn't matter whether it's a tomato, a chicken, a goat, a cow. If you're doing heavy selection and you're doing your crosses to try to improve something or get a quality that you want, that's different because you're guiding it. But the random mating things together or letting things cross, what you tend to have happen over time, and you might not see it even in your lifetime, but they just kind of slowly will diverge back towards what the wild ancestor was like. Never identical, but a lot of the production qualities that we have created in plants and animals are of no value to the plant or the animal in the real world outside of the human cultivated landscape. And I mean, there's countless scientific experiments where they've done this on, smaller groups of rodents and this, that, and whatever, but like that, it happens. And that's the scary part when you start losing diversity of some of that stuff. I'm getting preachy, but anyways, whole nother topic. But that is a good point about taxonomy.
You hadn't gotten to the editing. That's why you hadn't gotten. You were so far behind. I'm going to go into something else while you catch up because I've already read these. I'm going to say to Homestead Aquarius, because I think he's still in here, some excellent additions to Team Woodcutter. We're super excited about some of them. We've been slowly going through and checking out and subbing to the new channels. Obviously, super pleased with the addition of Thorhaven.
Yes.
Canadian. Excellent. We're definitely getting a stacked Canadian team, which we love because we also want to support all our Canadian content channels too. So sometimes you're spread pretty thin. So it works great to have all best of all worlds. But definitely putting on some heavy hitters. So
that's the one, the Tinker's Wife.
Yes, Black Rush.
I can never say
Giant Mammoth, whatever.
No, that's the black oil one.
Okay.
Perdovic. I think I said that right. But yes, that's the one. That's the one I meant. But basically, all the black oil sunflower seeds are derived from that, and it's like wheat wheat cultivars. They're all just slightly different. And the more you look into it, because wheat is not something that's been genetically modified or whatnot. A lot of the times the change is incremental, but then grass type plants is a whole nother topic on taxonomy and confusion.
Suggestions on upload.
YouTube's pretty self-explanatory.
It's pretty good if you've got the video editing. Now, we were just saying to Walsh Hills there that we use Lightworks. That's what we started with because we didn't want anything that came with my phone that I could download for free had a watermark, and we hated that. So we ended up going with Lightworks free version. It works great. It took a little while. I would suggest just filming something for fun or, just film a little short and kind of practice some of the little editing bits. We started very basic. All we did was take out the ums and the so's and the parts that were kind of garbage.
We didn't even do that in the first couple.
True, but we didn't do any tweaking to coloring. We didn't put in words. We didn't do anything fancy. You just start with the basics, and then every time you do a video, you learn a little bit more, or you push yourself a little bit more to figure it out.
Or you'll figure out the things that you like because you play with the tool, and that's just one tool.
Yeah, and then maybe everybody else, because there's quite a few other really good channels in here. If they want to share what they use for editing, that would be awesome. Because even for us, I mean, we're always kind of keeping an eye out. We do like the Lightworks. We use Canva to edit our photos and screenshots and thumbnails. Canva.com, right?
You can do a paid version. Yeah. But we don't. I've done a lot of stuff with that. I made our logo with that too.
Yeah. But as far as actually loading to YouTube, it's as simple as clicking on the create button, and it gives you the option of go live or upload a video. And if you've already edited it and saved it to your computer or your phone, if you're using an editor off your phone, then you can just load it. The only thing I would suggest, and this is a mistake I see a lot of people make, if you're not filming a short, don't film it with your phone upright. Make sure you go sideways, because you want to be able to have the wide screen to fill the whole.
It looks better.
And don't film with your phone. If you've got one of those kind of, what are they called? Like my Android. Where's mine here? It's a big sort of whatever. And you get the option to film using the whole entire screen. That's not compatible onto YouTube screen, so you have to adjust it. So make sure you're using a 16.9, I think is what they call the widescreen. Anyways, that's all I know. I'm not techie, but like we had no idea. We've just kind of been figuring it out as we go. And you will too.
It's got its frustrating moments, but
if we lose, we'll blame Canada. Canada is going to carry your team. We already have 114 pounds on our list in less than a month. 114 pounds. We're pretty stoked about that, because this is the first time we've ever kept track of what we grow. And we're failing at lettuce.
In all fairness, from a pound perspective, from a quality of food perspective, lettuce is great.
It's been really fun watching the egg wars go. We haven't really posted anything about eggs, or we haven't really posted any weigh-in videos at all. All we do is talk about our weigh-ins on our lives.
We're kind of not sure how much to get into some of the animal stuff. We think it's important, but it's kind of, I know the Essence of Shedware started as a gardening thing, but it's kind of gotten, we'll do something animal related at some point.
Yeah, but it's been fun anyway. So go Team Woodcutter, because we're bringing it.
You go another one, Open Shoot. That's one I've never heard of.
Open Shoot, okay.
And Filmora. I've heard of Filmora. Haven't actually tried it. So there's lots of options here.
And just, we didn't skip over you on the Red in the Valley about the supporting local and Canadian. Yes.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I think Tinker's Wife, that's a great one to start with some shorter stuff. Not necessarily quote unquote shorts, but some shorter videos, because then you kind of get used to it.
Indiana uses, now that's the one I had on my phone, but it put a watermark on it. But maybe that's because I didn't have a paid version. I don't know. I really liked it, but I didn't like that I couldn't get rid of the watermark. So maybe she knows how you get rid of the watermark.
I don't know.
I didn't, because I haven't noticed a watermark on yours.
I definitely need to learn to edit. That's one thing we find with the kids. Well, I find, because I do mostly editing, but they're great, but they're really bad for talking over each other. So, and restarting and this, that, whatever. So the editing's nice.
Yeah.
So that you can at least hear what they're talking about. Because they get really excited about it, right? It's like, oh, we're going to talk about rabbits. And then you get both of them talking a mile a minute over top of each other. And it's like, whoa, you need to slow down and talk one at a time. I suppose we even do it to some degree. Yeah. But Filmora.
The problem with Filmora is they put data mining stuff on your, I don't even know what that is. Not sure what data mining stuff is. That stuff that uses your data when you're not actually trying. See, this is how untech savvy we are.
This is interesting though, because a lot of these are things we've never.
Hitch a Chick, thank you for subscribing to Caitlin's. There's some great channels in here, and we have kind of posted their links throughout. But if anybody wants a link, let us know.
Or anybody wants a wrench.
Well, that too we can do, but
we can do that.
Yeah, she's on her phone. She's my computer. I just use the video editor. Okay, because I've not noticed a watermark on yours, but maybe it's
If you took that's a funny one. Took the ums and ohs and other things, you wouldn't have video. I don't know if that's true.
No.
But the worst part of it is you really notice it when you're, because
Oh, I never noticed how I say so before everything.
you're doing it a lot less actually now. I still do the a lot, but I notice I do the because we don't, like, we kind of come up with a general idea or go out and it's like, hey, let's film this. And you kind of have in your mind what you want to say, but none of it's scripted or whatever. So my they're like the pauses where my thought is going from one thought to the next one. And it works out nice because they're easy to cut out for me. That's just something I noticed.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I'm way behind. Yeah. I apologize, everyone.
Just right. Kind Master, I read that one already.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one.
About direction. Yeah. Just make sure you have if you're on, like, we use a camcorder for most of our recording, not the phone, just because we find it easier to sit on a tripod. And I know you can get fancy tripods and stuff for your phone too, but we are trying to, so far at least, we've invested very little into tech stuff. I would really love a drone.
Eventually, when we get to 1,000, and
is that my present when we get to 1,000? And we have to have the watch hours, or no? Actually, we think we're going to get to the watch hours probably before we get to 1,000, which is not necessarily a bad problem to have.
No. Well, who really knows? But
yeah,
the wind.
Over the fence.
The wind is definitely a thing. We've only done voiceovers on one or two. We just go with it.
Yeah.
It's like, we're back and we're fencing. It's windy. It is what it is.
Well, and sometimes you just cut it out and put something else over it and speed it all up.
Yeah, also true.
That's other things that you figure out as you get fancier throughout doing a bit of open shot. That's the one that you already have me wrote down. Mm-hmm.
We actually, on the way in the eggs for Shed Wars, we started out really strong, but then we're trying to get some of them to go broody, so we're letting them collect up. So our egg weights are down, but that's okay.
Yes, egg weights are down, but meat weights are up because animals keep getting on the chopping block around here.
Oh, May will slow down because it's a month where there's not going to be too much. But yeah, definitely.
But we're about to harvest our wild parsnips.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a good one because I'm putting them in the freezer and roasting them this year.
Just have to see if we can get quite a few of them.
Yeah. So be ready for that weight to come. Not that that's what it's all about, but I'm also going to do a video on harvesting the wild parsnips because wild parsnip is something that so many people shy away from, and there is valid reason for it because it can cause major, major burns. But if you do it right, it tastes way better than parsnip from the garden.
But it's also the same species as parsnip from the garden.
Yes. So we don't grow parsnip in the garden because we have so much wild parsnip here.
Basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it grows in every ditch, so you could always go out and harvest more.
Well, we knocked it down quite a bit by harvesting it the other year. Cat problems.
Dumped the water off the counter.
Oh, nice.
Sorry, there was something else that Caitlin had said further up.
Reddit in the Valley said her name is Cindy. Nice to meet you, Cindy. We're going to add you to the book.
I'm doing good this time. I'm writing people's names down because it sticks better for me if I write it down. It does. I don't know why. InShot has a watermark if not paid. Okay, yeah. Oh, that was what Caitlin had asked about. Maybe somebody else had answered it about what you had to have in order to start being able to earn income from YouTube. That was what she had asked. And you need to have 1,000 subscribers and you need to have 4,000 watch hours within a 1-year period.
Mm-hmm.
So when we first plunged into this, I'm going to go on a bit of a digression here and everybody can chime in with their thoughts on this for sure. But we first dove in thinking that was going to be easy. Not easy. We knew it was going to be work, but we produce a video a day. And definitely it's work, but it's very enjoyable.
It's like everything else. You eventually just get into a routine.
Yeah, you get into the groove of doing it. And then we had a goal of hopefully we didn't think we'd get watch hours, but we hoped we would get 1,000 subscribers within the year. Most of the people that we had talked to previously on it or kind of Googled information on, it seemed like a year to a year and a half was about the time period for most people to become monetized. So we kind of had that sort of goal in mind. Not that it was a goal per se, because this was more of a documentation of all the things that we were doing because we just moved to the new place. And with COVID, we couldn't have our family over. My family is all in Manitoba, so they can't even now cross the border, I don't believe. So it was a great way to share what we were doing in our life with everybody. And then it just kind of has escalated from there in a great way. Yeah. And we've gotten part of this amazing community, which that's the one thing I have to say. For years, we've used YouTube. We've watched the big channels and some small channels,
but never participated.
We didn't understand the importance of subscribing, commenting, thumbs up. We didn't even realize the community that was there that you could be part of. And really, we honestly, I think we're missing out for years. Mm-hmm. And now we found it and it's awesome. So
yes,
we definitely want to encourage that and help other people find it and get going with it too. So that was my tangent. Sorry, you can, you drone. I'm right.
You drone.
Having trouble?
Yeah.
You're supposed to have the better eyesight.
I'm doing my quick reading thing.
You drone. Okay. Who suggested that?
That was doing redneck things.
Okay. Is that what it's for novice, easy to fly? Now, how do you find that in the wind? This is the one thing I'm hearing, and we're always windy, it would seem. I don't want to buy a drone and then never be able to use it.
We'll figure something out. That's pretty cool. You're filling all your incubators. I'm really hoping that all of our chickens start to sit here. The geese are getting close, but not quite there just yet. What was I going to say? Hello, CJM Farms. Thanks for coming in.
Yes.
We're behind. This is just our thing.
Sorry. And I don't know how long it's been in here, but I'm going to, I have a list every week. I start collecting a mental list. So CJM, Jeremy, not sure what I'm going on the personal level tonight because I'm working on my personal skills. Are you going to start a Toronto Guru group? There was a little bit of I saw something on, I think it was a Facebook post or maybe it was on one of your videos or something like that. Anyways, I've had a few people actually ask me about if there's going to be a Toronto Gurus group because we started in Eastern Ontario Gurus. And anyways, let me know.
I've always wanted to try the Southfly. That's the same species
Going green
as
one is Megan.
Pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, Southfly is the same species as common goat's beard, Tragopogon, whatever. I think. Something to come back to. And yes, wild parsnip does cause burns. It's exactly the same as giant hogweed. They're
only edible.
Well, yes, it is edible. But there's actually a couple species because there's another one in our area at least called cow parsnip, which is actually native. It does the same thing. And if you get, I'm going to say when they're in their biannual flowering state, they're worse. The plants all of them get huge and they tend to be, you're more likely to actually get it all over you if you break the plant or that sort of thing, but you can still get it out of the smaller rosettes. You just have to be careful. The worst with the wild parsnip is if you hit it with a weed eater and don't have long sleeves or that kind of thing on, it'll leave some pretty disfiguring, or at least temporarily disfiguring burns.
Yes, I did actually harvesting it last year. I did get burns on my leg that are still there today. So it does actually take a long time for them to heal. They didn't like, I was wearing shorts. I was being silly. I'll make sure my video to document it properly.
Going green mums. Correct. You can start, that's to monetize. You can start posting.
Yeah.
With nothing. You can start posting. That's how it works, which is awesome.
Oh my gosh. No, I am so far behind. Look at how far up my little bar is on the thing. I'm so far behind.
We might do a bit of a go up ahead here. So while we're catching up with everybody, if anybody wants to post links or whatever, go for it.
I so have to apologize for how far behind we are. I'm going to have to just trust that you haven't. See, this is the thing.
That's pretty good, Sean, though.
I don't trust that he hasn't missed somebody or an important comment. So I'm proofing on my computer. And by proofing, I'm going way behind. So I'm going to just skip up to be up with you and hope that you've not missed anybody in anything. Can I trust you? I'm doubtful.
Yeah, you go on to the end and I will go back and I will post.
I'm way back behind you.
Oh, well, you go to the end. You get current. Get current. There we go.
Okay, so where are you?
I am.
I'm still back on the drone conversation. Okay, hang on here. Okay, so CJ just came in.
We're lost in the
This
chat.
is so bad.
Instead of lost in
This
space,
is great. I
lost in
shouldn't
the
say
chat.
it's bad. This is absolutely great, and we love the conversation. It just becomes like, so you don't want to miss anything. Ah,
Well, that's not a good chain of events to break your ankle, but also very cool that it gave you the time to watch YouTube and find us. we we appreciate that, and I'm glad you find us interesting or entertaining at least.
oh,
Oh yes, we've had those days. Chicks in the bathroom and various parts of the house.
oh, okay. I'm going back to Sean in Alaska. If anybody in here is not, I'm going to be like North Shore. If anybody could post Sean in Alaska's link, if you haven't already posted it, he says he's at 863 and his goal was 1,000. So if anybody in here hasn't subbed to Sean in Alaska, please do so. They're great videos. Oh my gosh, the scenery. I mean, I've never been to Alaska, but oh my goodness. And then one thing I always say is like, oh, he's got way more snow than us. Oh, it's very interesting though to watch. Sorry, I know that was way back. We're way ahead of that in the conversation.
It might have been Tinker's Wife, the cow parsnip, because it does something very similar. They're all slightly different, but they all do similar things. Yeah, okay. I thought it was I thought it was similar because we have quite a bit of there's two introduced goat beard species, Tragopogon species that we have in Ontario. One's far more common than the other one, but I'm pretty sure you can eat the wild ones too. But something to look into. Another vegetable thing to look at.
Okay, I'm getting close.
Yeah, I think the wild ones are usually white, and a lot of the ones you see pictures of, if you look it up, are the black, which is kind of neat, interesting to try. Colored vegetables are always good for you.
This was a prairie life.
That's cool with the blue vervain and the St. John's wort. Making the tincture with it. I'd like to get into some of that stuff because I know the plants. I just don't fully know all the uses for a lot of them. Which is kind of, hello, Simply Jan. Thanks for coming in.
Hey, Jan. We're having trouble keeping up.
Yes, thank you, Indiana Backyard Gardener. Hey, we're having trouble, but that's okay. I think everybody's having fun.
Have a good night, Crucy. Thank you very much for coming in. Did you already say that?
Nope.
They're probably already gone because we're so far behind.
Thank you to Tinker's Wife for putting up Sean in Alaska's link there.
Here too. Okay.
Oh, I'm back to the.
You caught up? Because I'm not caught up yet.
I'm caught up. Woo! I'm caught up.
Okay, so Jeremy CJM Farm says he'd be part of an Ontario group but doesn't want to start one. So we can send you a link if you're at all interested with the Garden Gurus and joining, because I think we're kind of the only ones plunging on in Ontario with it at this point. But I know you can be members of more than one group. I know this is a crazy live. We are bouncing around topic to topic. I'm answering questions. You're answering questions. People just have to pay attention.
I think they could say the same about us. Paying attention. We're the ones behind.
We're behind and we're bouncing around. Okay. Oh, I'm up to where Jan came in, so I must be getting caught up too.
So you've got you had some snow too, Jan? Sorry, we kind of may have missed something in the chat there, but we're supposed to get some. I'm kind of hoping we don't, but we probably will.
Okay, here we are.
There's definitely lots of stuff to learn. We've tried a few things. I actually didn't mind it, but making like a tea out of Eastern white cedar leaves, you hated it. I actually didn't mind it.
It was so bad.
but it's just one of those things. But at the same time, this is where sometimes the foraging goes down the route of it's nice to know if you didn't have food, because it may not all be the most enjoyable things to eat, but it's still food. It's still edible, right? You can still get. It's like the white cedar. You're still getting nutrients out
Yeah.
of out
Oh,
of
and
that.
I know if it came to it, I could choke it down, but it wouldn't be my drink of choice. I'm excited to try the spruce tip one though this year, because I've heard great things about the spruce tip tea, and I also wanted to try and make the spruce tip jelly.
Yeah.
We also had a big breakout last week of dandelions, although they're going to be all covered in snow tomorrow. But I'm getting very excited. Yet, no, they're all flowering at the back.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, so I'm very excited for dandelion jelly too. I think I'm going to do a video on that. Darn it, I was going to post somebody up and the thing kept moving. Caitlin. Caitlin's Family Farm says snow here. And I know you've told us this before, but where are you? I can't remember.
Rough geographic.
Yeah, I'm not talking. Give me your street address.
I think that's what's going to happen with us. If we get snow, it's going to come. It's going to sit.
It's going to be slushy and
it's going to go.
Awful.
But just enough to be annoying.
We're tomorrow's not supposed to go above 0, so it's going to be at that hovering freeze all day, and then tomorrow night is actually supposed to be below 0, and then we're back up to I think +3 or 4 the next day. So I think it's just one day, but one day can kill a lot. We're so thankful our apple trees stayed smart. We were back there the other day when we were cutting our new cattle pasture edge, and we were saying about that they seemed like they were late, like nothing was opening, and I think they knew what was coming. I'm pretty sure.
Plants knew.
The plants knew.
The plants knew. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the spruce tip one. We ran out of time last year.
Yeah, and we have like a huge row of spruce trees. I mean, it's so easy to collect them. Just have to be on the ball to do it at the right time. Hey, TJ Preps.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah.
Fireweed jelly sounds interesting.
Oh, what is fireweed?
We don't have a lot of fireweed here. You have to go it's in Ontario, but you have to go more into central Ontario. And if you go into northern or western Ontario, it's quite common. It's quite a pretty plant. It's in the willow herb family, I believe. Yeah, it's quite pretty. I should collect some. I've even seen the white version of it, the white variety.
So do pine needles provide anything different than spruce? Only because we have white pines, and we also have not a lot of white pines, but we do have some white pines. We have a lot of what are the spruce trees called?
We've got Norway spruce.
Norway spruce
that were planted. But that's actually one thing I saw.
Wintergreen pine Labrador tea. Huh.
That's the one I wanted to get, was the Labrador tea. Remember I was talking about it?
What is it, a tree?
No, it's a shrub.
Oh.
It's an evergreen shrub, basically.
A way to encourage him, Jason. Or Danielle, whoever's on there.
We grow the blueberries, so
yeah,
they like similar soil, amended soil. So it's like
we drink a lot of tea, so I'm kind of excited for starting to sort out.
I can get some Labrador tea.
Okay, sure. Why not? We'll try it. Can it go in the fruit forest?
No, it can go around the blueberry zone.
Okay, it likes to be acidic.
Yes.
See, I'm learning. Here are the comments. Foraging.
That's pretty cool. I think, I know some of it. I just have to brush up on it more than anything.
The chaga thing, sorry, I'm up to the next comment with Going Green Mom. That's something that really interests me. We've looked around, but I think it's big on birch trees, which we don't have a lot of,
we have gray birch. Gray birch I don't think is big enough to actually have it. We don't have any white birch or yellow birch here. Yeah, the bright magenta ones. They're very pretty. The fireweed.
I'll have to look that up.
They do. They're the one that if fire goes through, that's kind of. I'm pretty sure they're the one that comes up quite quickly, and they spread like fire. You get them in roadsides and stuff in Northern Ontario.
It should. I shouldn't say that, Bev. I'm practicing. And that's the nice thing about the teas and having your own. Like I want to have tons. I want to have a shelf that's full of all the different dried out herbs that I can just mix up the concoction that I want. I think we did that a lot. Like we had all the peppermints, and we had lemon balm and things like that. But I do want to expand that a bit more to have a few different things.
Mhm.
And I do want to try drying out the fruit too, like for the blueberries and the raspberry teas and stuff. We did try the rosebud or rosehip one at our old place because we had tons of roses. It didn't really do
I
anything.
think it was just maybe the type of rose we
But
had.
I've had rosehip tea and it's tasted amazing. So I don't know. Maybe it was just something to do with
There's
ours.
different
Yeah.
kinds.
Which I have here, but it's not as prevalent. Eastern bark. We'll have to look. We haven't, in all fairness, we haven't foraged our whole property because we said there was no puffball mushrooms here. We'd looked, and then we were out up on the hill there looking at where we were going to put a fence in, and there was a huge one dried out from last year that had popped open, which means it should have spread spores, which will then mean there's going to be puffball mushrooms there this year, hopefully.
See, I jumped ahead. Sean said that's where he got his, or there was a fire the year before.
See? So it's Simply Janice says, I'm trying redbud tea for the first time. Yeah. But it didn't work really well as to do it myself. So maybe they do something special to it when you buy it.
I think, yeah, like that's what we did with the white cedar. You just boil it like a tea.
And then strained it.
And then strained it out. And I like the flavor. You didn't.
No.
But at the same time, the nice thing about some of that stuff with the conifers, it's like you said, if you have them, then
but the one thing I would put in there though is you just picked any cedar. If you pick new growth, I bet you it's different because it's like the spruce. I can eat the spruce buds or spruce tips straight from the tree, and they taste lovely. So I wonder if there's a difference with the cedar too. If you get new growth, it probably tastes better than old growth.
Oh, I would imagine.
And you brewed up old growth for us.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to try that spruce bud and see. I take rose every day. High in, that's a good vitamin C option. Okay. Huh. So maybe I should go and put a fence around that rose bush out there before the sheep destroy it.
Well, we have one multiflora rose, which is usually considered a bit of a pest here, but it's the only one.
Yeah. Well, we'll just put a fence around it, and the sheep will keep it from spreading because they eat it. That's why they ate it last year, but it grew back better this year. So there's so many different herbs and wildflowers and different things. You just have to know what the uses are. Like you say, it's quite a learning curve. That's an interesting one. I would love to get redbud because we are kind of pushing it, but we can grow it here because we can grow it as far north as Ottawa, but it is not native here. It's native to Ontario, but not our part of the province. I didn't know about. And what's the other one that you said, the toothache one?
The prickly ash.
Oh, prickly ash.
It's got similar compounds. I don't know. The thing with the prickly ash is it numbs stuff. I asked that question at the beginning if anybody had ever actually eaten the berries because they're very citrus flavored, but then your whole mouth goes numb. Yeah. Hence why they used to call it toothache tree.
We made the kids try
it. That's awesome, and you've got a good area to do that in, which is really awesome.
Yeah. Cedar is
I can
great.
See that.
Natural, yeah.
They used to
they used to eat it. It was great. The one thing some people had told us too, it was great that they'd been giving it to sheep before lambing, and we were concerned because in the goats you had to be careful giving it to them before kidding because it could cause premature labor, and so we've kind of held off. But everybody says the cedar is great natural wormer for the sheep as well, so we might try it after. But unfortunately, because all of our sheep are kept together, we can't really feed the ones that have had their babies until everybody's had their babies. But
yeah, that's the nice thing about redbud. It's pretty and it's got some useful sides to it. So someday we'll get some.
I'm curious on this comment. What is the weeping willow water for transplants?
Oh, that's so I've never tried it, but that's you basically. I'm trying to remember. Do you just put the willow branches in the water and the hormone kind of leaches out into it?
We have a huge weeping willow that I prune each year to a height so that the sheep don't eat it and pull on the branches.
I'm going to ask a question. Black poplar. I'm trying to think common names here. Is that balsam poplar? I think it's the same thing. I'm not sure.
Well, I don't
should
know.
but
when I was in Manitoba, I just called it poplar. They all were poplars.
it's like gulls. They're not all poplars.
No, they're all
thing.
poplars. It's a poplar. It's like he goes out into our food forest in our pit area in the pond, and he looks up at these big trees and calls them cottonwoods. And I'm
Eastern
like, that's a poplar.
There's eastern cottonwoods.
He's like, no, it's an eastern cottonwood.
It's a type of poplar. But
I'm like, it's a poplar. Poplar's a poplar.
And poplars and willows are related to one another, but they're not the same thing.
Well, there you go.
The tree we're talking about, it's actually a shrub, I guess. It's or can just get to tree. Prickly ash. It's I don't have the scientific name. It is in the citrus.
It's
family.
Invasive. If you plant,
it spreads pretty It will spread aggressively. It's got an aspirin-like compound in it too, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But
because what was the one? There was one too that you chewed the bark. They would chew the bark.
That's the willows.
Oh,
that's
okay.
like what drops is saying.
Oh, okay.
The willows, yeah.
Oh, I'm learning so much tonight. This is awesome. This is the great thing about lives and YouTube.
Yes, it is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, a good book. I think the big thing with the foraging is you want to probably learn some stuff that's kind of local. I know there's some resources in Ontario that are kind of Eastern Ontario, like Eastern centric, but you do get into the thing too of you'll probably end up needing the further you go into it, the more complicated you get into it. It's like the mushroom thing. It's the part that always kind of concerns me. There's certain ones that are very easy to tell apart, and there's others that aren't. And there are a few where it's like, if you eat this one, you're good, and if you eat that one, you're not. A lot of the herbs aren't quite that bad, but some things look similar, some things don't. See, you end up becoming a bit of a botanist, really, to get into that quite a bit. Yeah, that's what I thought. You just put the
just after I prune them, you just put them in the water.
Yeah.
So this is I'm going to go to a video that we watched earlier today with vineyard chicks and their raspberries. So
the water would give you
the water would be like a growing. They just cut pieces off the raspberries and stuck them in the soil with root hormone to propagate, which we didn't realize you could just.
I don't know why I didn't realize you could.
Cut. We never even thought of it, and here we are going. Oh, need to get raspberries. Tip them over, do the spreading. And
that's the black raspberries. The red ones don't grow the same way.
So, anyways, we have tons of red raspberries from around the farm, which we would like to kind of propagate into certain areas. And that would be a lot easier than digging them up. But I'm not sure if anybody's had success with that and if it really works.
We're the same way. We still have quite a bit of ash. What is it? The green ash or red ash, whatever you want to call it. They're varieties, or I think they took away the variety thing. But anyways, we've still got quite a few of those, but our white ash is really taken a kicking from the emerald ash borer in our area.
It's a drops thing there. I learn stuff every day and then it seems to disappear and then I need to be told again. So that's where this is great, because I know and I hope people don't feel it sometimes, but often we seem to discuss the same things again, but it always seems like it's all new discovery to me, even though we've discussed it last week.
Just gotta get in there.
It doesn't stick. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. There are definitely some things that are easily confused that you may not want to consume. For sure. But yeah, I think that's a great idea. A great place to start is
local book
by something that's kind of local to your region. For sure.
So Edible Wild Food, is that the channel name?
Yeah.
I'll check that out.
Yeah. No, that's a good resource too.
Hash kicking.
Is that a honey locust or a black locust? Because honey locust you can do some things with.
Honey locust we feed to the animals, the pods. Mm-hmm. The sheep love them. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like apples and stuff. I don't think.
I bet you the pigs would eat them, wouldn't they? Maybe not.
They might. Yeah. An ash kicking. It's crazy though how like some of those introduced pests when they come in, when they don't have any predators and the plant species aren't adapted for them, it just goes like wildfire. But everything kind of works out. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like Dutch elm disease, how it's gone through and American elm or white elm, whichever you want to call it. It's still not uncommon, at least in our area, but it's got a reproductive strategy that allows it to be that way, right? Because it can reproduce at a pretty young age versus butternut, which in our area is, well, we still have quite a bit of it because we're at the northeastern limit of the range. So the blight hasn't, it's here, it's established, but it's kind of where the last place to get it. But there's other parts that it's just wiped it out because butternut takes like 10, 15 years to start producing seed. So
yeah, our
the
black raspberries, we didn't prune them in the fall and they've already rooted into the ground now. So we're just leaving them.
We're going to train some
a bit better, but I'm curious on the red ones. I see, done it with, is
a
a heritage raspberry. Would that be similar to
heritage is a type of red raspberry.
Oh, okay.
Rubus idaeus. There we go. That's what I remember.
Those aren't the ones we ordered.
They're not. They were heritage, but they're still Rubus idaeus.
Oh, okay.
They're a variety.
What variety did we order?
Killarney. Hopefully they come.
Yes. A lot of people haven't been getting the things they ordered this year, so it'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Just kidding.
That means I'm going senile. I sign everything over to them. I will admit it's going to be bad. I mean, I think it's just one of those things when it's probably really good for the mind to keep trying to do so many things, but I do think it also makes you scatterbrained because honestly, there's so many things going on here and I'm planning all the things that I want to do that I can't remember the first thing I was going to do. That's the problem.
I usually can remember most of it, or I can go figure.
But being forgetful is really great when it comes to movies, books, all that sort of stuff, because I can watch the same movie over and over and over, the same book over and over and over and read it. And
it's like you're watching it for the first time.
It is, because I couldn't tell you one thing that you and the kids, you guys can recite, like you watch it once and you can recite half the movie, and I'm like, what movie is that from?
Assimilation of useless information.
I'm not good at that.
But yes, honey locust is the one that does have the giant thorns. But there is a cultivar that is actually naturally occurring that doesn't have them. But you can technically use those thorns as nails, although I don't know how easy that is to do. Yeah, so there are a few uses for it. There's something else you can do with it. I have to go back and look it up. But livestock can eat it. It's kind of one of those things.
You can make sugar out of the honey locust ones.
Yeah, you can.
You can boil the pods and make sugar water.
We've never done it, but we'd like to try. But I think with the pods, as far as livestock eating them, it's like apples. They kind of recommend you don't just dump a whole bucket full of them in there when they've never eaten them. But if they kind of have access to it periodically over time on pasture, they're usually fine.
Yeah. Yeah, we just threw in like a bucket for 15 sheep, and they just kind of picked at it.
Well, and they do have access to some of it. And then he can't cook his daughter's during the all-day show. Stooling. Is that for the black raspberries?
I said, pick up 2 more.
Oh, very
nice.
Trees.
Nice.
I have to get my red mulberry.
Did Caitlin say where they were from?
Yes.
I missed it.
She did. It was way back up here.
Okay, you stay. I'll go.
Okay. Divide and conquer.
This is terrible that I didn't.
I would like to look into the Rose of Sharon a bit and I meant to do this. Maybe somebody here knows this actually, but hibiscus. Rose of Sharon's in the hibiscus family. It's a native hardy one. Can you use the flowers the same way you would use like the more tropical hibiscus for teas and stuff? Because if you can, that would be awesome. Because then it would be a lot lower maintenance. I haven't actually done the research on that to see. Maybe somebody in here knows.
She's from, okay, got it. I knew it was Ontario. I'm writing lots of notes today.
Yeah, the honey locust usually gets Well, at least any of the ones that I found here in Ontario, because we are at the northern limit of the range, although they can grow further north. Um, they're just native to our area, although they're really, 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 really rare here. If you go to southwestern Ontario, they're still rare, but they're more common. Some years they can be loaded with pods.
Tinker's wife sounds just like us. See, well, no, I shouldn't say that because some things are reversed because she's similar to you in nerdiness on plants and all those other good nature things. But then, like, her husband remembers everything from a movie and she can't remember what it, yeah. Anyway, sorry. On my own, on my own thing, in my own little corner over here.
I did know about the nitrogen fixation too, and if they're native ones, they're probably even better because they would already have whatever inoculant growing with them, I would imagine. I didn't know you could use the honey locust for the fence posts. I know the black locust is really popular. We have some. It's not native here, so we use eastern white cedar because there's a lot more of it. But
with the hibiscus, we want to grow hibiscus because I want to do hibiscus tea.
Well, that was the.
You're not there yet.
Oh yeah, so the hardy one. Okay, so you can use the rose of the Sharon or the hardy hibiscus basically the same way. That is cool. That's a game changer.
You're like, I can already see him plotting. He's like, "Oh, how many of those can I bring home without her saying anything?"
4 or 5.
I always say, if you bring it home, you got to have a plan for planting it because our blueberries are still in black totes after 2 years.
And they're still doing
and they're
awesome.
doing amazing.
They're
going to have tons. When we go to actually plant them in a garden, they'll die. You watch.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Have that bit of a what do you call it? Block. It's always kind of nice to have that. We planted a white cedar hedge between our one neighbor, more for wind block, but kind of the same thing. It's going
well. We didn't want it to get too high, like under.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or that's where we have a dilemma with our spruce trees. We have to take out a few of them because the hydro line that comes to the pole that goes to the neighbor, which is our responsibility to keep clear, has a few that are getting darn close. They're to the ground wire. So we've got to get them out of there.
We can grow huckleberries. I'm trying to think. There is one native huckleberry to Ontario, I believe. I have to look it up.
Huckleberry. I didn't even know that was a real thing. I just thought it was huckleberry fin.
Well, I'm trying to remember. I'm sure there's one native one. Maybe I'm thinking of something different. Having a bit of a brain moment here because it's not a common thing.
I was going to Red in the Valley with wanting it. One thing we are noticing this year, I think that things are going to clear out fast because a lot of places, this is again going back to our local feed store where we would normally get our seed potatoes, and he let us know last weekend when we asked about it, because we did buy some potatoes because he at least had some. He'd only received, I should say, let's use proper English. He'd only received about 50% of his actual order, and there wasn't going to be more. And he hadn't even been told on his plants and fruit what he was actually going to get. So by the time we got there to even get the potatoes, for example, he had to serve his big growers first. So they got, because they'd put in big orders, and all he had was I'm going to say the dregs. They were still fine. Like, we wanted the Yukon Gold, so that was great. And we had managed to save a lot of potatoes from last year to plant this year. So that was good. But I do think we're going to see it across the board on all fruit and everything like that, because I think, and there's nothing wrong with it, but if you haven't ordered it online, you aren't getting it, because all the online ordering has taken it even from the stores that were going to get it, because they weren't anticipating having, it's like what we talk about with the chickens. When people want egg-laying chickens, you have to plan that 6 months in advance. As the person who's growing the chickens, they need to know 6 months in advance. So if they didn't know there was going to be a rush on the fruit trees, then they can't do anything about it, because most fruit trees are 3-4 years old by the time you get them, at least.
Oh,
So
at least, yeah.
anyways, total whatever on that. But I do think because we need to pick up a couple more cherry bushes and stuff this year. We're just going to kind of keep.
See what we can
Well,
find.
I say that if the lockdown ever ends and you can actually go meander around a store, not that I want to necessarily go out and, you know, meet up with a bunch of people.
We'll just see where we get to with adding new
Yeah.
stuff to the property. But it definitely is interesting. There's a lot of intriguing plants that go back to, like you say, the megafauna stuff. That it's like Kentucky coffee tree. Doesn't have really much in the way of natural seed dispersal anymore, or at least not in Ontario.
Well, the thorns on the honey locust are crazy.
They are, yeah, keeping out big animals
Like,
from chewing on it. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
to have 40
that's a good
plants.
patch.
Definitely. Are those like a thornless variety that you planted, like or like a cultivar? We've got
the wild
ones, which they're fairly productive, but
well, and they take up
a big area.
Yeah, acres. But to try and wade into them is painful, literally. And we talked about hitting them with the brush cutter this year to make paths. So we'll have to see. Yeah,
because you can't get into them all. But good night, Hit the Chick. Thank you very much for coming in. Hopefully you had a good evening. That's awesome. So the Rose of Sharon is. So there we go. Because we had talked about for your tea garden, having a hibiscus, because hibiscus is one of those things you can dry, like you say, the bark and the flowers and stuff. So you could do it rather than have to have like the more tropical hibiscus in the house and bring them in and out. Yeah. You could just have the Rose of Sharon.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. We're trying to avoid too many plants that you've got to
bring in and out.
Even though we have the greenhouse, we're not going to heat it. So it's still got to be strong enough to survive the freeze. Mm-hmm. Oh, you jumped.
I know. It keeps...
Keep going. Go back to your highlighted one. There you go. Caveat regarding Rose of Sharon. It is toxic to animals. That'll have to be planted somewhere smartly.
Mm-hmm. Just plant it somewhere that it can't.
Yeah, the chickens would be the only thing that would get near it, really, outside of pens. So
they may not be. Whatever. But I have to look into that a little bit more because it's funny. Mm-hmm. The sheep, in particular, we've got stories about them eating things that they shouldn't eat and choosing to eat things that
they've come out just fine.
Yeah.
Oh, Indiana backyard gardener got the 2 golden raspberries. That's what we have.
Yes, we have a small patch of them.
Well, we have the early golden and their Anne, right?
Yeah, we've got
the 2 of them mixed, but they're both the yellow colored. And we would like to propagate and grow that patch, but it'll come. Thank you for coming in, Tony and Leanne, doing redneck things. Great to see you.
We'll probably start to wind down here as we get through the chat.
This has been a super great awesome chat, though.
This is the thing. You get going, talking to people, and it's, I don't know, just awesome.
Yeah.
I actually would like to get some black locust. It's not on the official quote unquote invasive list here, but there's talk about putting them on it because they can spread. I don't think they ever will get put on it because they do have a bit of a place in the permaculture design, but we technically are outside the range. But it's interesting because when you go around to old homesteads, that's where you find it. They're always associated, like they were purposely planting it. But,
yeah, I think we're the same. We noticed
they're not quite there yet.
We noticed in parking lots and things the garden center fences popping up, and everybody's getting their soil, but not
that thing, the online stuff's been out. If you could buy it online, that's simple. People bought it whether they were going to do it or not.
Yeah,
they sold out in no time.
Yeah, onions. That's they did have some onions and, like I say, some potatoes and things. So definitely worth picking up. One thing we're definitely glad on is that we didn't wait even on the seeds that we did need to pick up, because a lot of the seed racks are, I mean, the common, like I shouldn't say the common stuff that people want is gone. Mm-hmm. You can pick up like the odd herbs and things like that, or, but stuff that people want to grow big time are, Yeah,
pawpaw, totally digression here, but pawpaws are interesting because they're pollinated by flies, which is totally, so the flowers don't smell good. Which is where you don't necessarily want.
Have you checked your pawpaw trees?
I did there the weekend, actually. Yeah, they looked okay.
Yeah.
They're still dormant, which is good, but I've got, what do I got?
10
of them. It's not bad. started. They're little though. They're like, okay.
Mhm.
So we'll see how they go.
Grew from seed last year,
Mhm.
so
Yeah, that's the thing. You go in, you buy a few things, and then you go back and go, oh, I should have bought more.
sorry, I'm going back to the Indiana record. Is the elderberry what you think you might have found at the property?
I might have found a black elderberry on our property.
When we were clearing out the sumacs for our cow fence on the weekend, he was very excited and put all these markers around these trees. And he's like, I'm pretty sure they're black elderberry, right?
Yeah, because
which he wanted to get this year, but everybody was sold out.
I've got to wait because I was looking at where the old bud should be, and it looked like the right buds for the black elderberry because they have like no bud basically, and the red elderberry has like almost say like a Mickey Mouse ear type bud. There's these big huge ones, but they'd already budded out, so I'm not 100% sure that it is the black because we have quite a bit of the red elderberry here, which you can't eat.
Yeah,
but yeah.
But yeah, you were excited.
Yes, I was. Yeah, so the thorns one, that's pretty good to have 40 some of them. Definitely.
And yes, I agree completely with drops on that.
We've
got similar. Two big bags of, well, we kept a lot of our russets from last year, but we were upping our potatoes this year. And so we did buy 2 Canadian grown russet bags, 10-pound bags of russet potatoes, which are going leggy like mad in the cupboard there, which is perfect for.
Are they still taking orders, the Wiffle Tree? I've never ordered from them, but kind of have meant to, just never did. So if they're still ordering, we should check them out. They're probably
sold out on a lot of stuff, but
I'm excited for the pawpaws. They're gonna have to wait a little bit, but they're going in the food forest.
They're going down along kind of the edge of the pond.
Yeah, it should be an excellent spot for them, and we are warm enough to grow them here, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's the nice part about potatoes is you can do that vegetative propagation with them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a population thing, Tinker's wife. Like when you're closer to an area of higher population, so supply and demand. They weren't anticipating the same or the amount of purchasing that's been happening. Even though we're now so far into it, they still haven't caught up with it. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you were talking about that, I think, in our last live, the dump truck or the load of compost, which is awesome, especially that it came from so close. Pawpaw is a tasty fruit.
I've never tried one, but.
Well, it's just another one of those things that's awesome to have. Unfortunately, it takes a little bit of time to get them going, but.
Ooh. No, that was a big jump again.
I know.
It's moody. Keep going up to the one you highlighted.
Oh, it was right there. Yeah, we'll definitely see how they do. I'm hoping they do well. We're going to make sure we
well, and you want to get some
spot.
more you want to definitely pick up some more seeds from the place that you got them from, because they did well. You actually had more than 10 sprout, but they didn't all.
They didn't all, but they're kind of a finicky one. But and I've got some more trees and stuff. Like I've got the red elder or the red mulberry seeds, and what else do I have? Manchurian apricot, and
what's the one that I want, the pea shrub.
Yeah, Siberian pea shrub. Well, that one we can get going now too.
Yeah, I love that one. That was one that was everywhere in Manitoba. I know Katie Lake will probably agree with that. The Caragana bushes were everywhere in Manitoba, and then you cannot find them here.
No,
they're all these ornamental weeping Caraganas, but no proper hedgerow Caragana bushes. And I really wanted them, so we bought the seeds. We'll have to see.
Hello, Rolling Homestead and Wild.
Hey there!
Thanks for coming in.
Glad to see you.
Yeah,
we're glad we've been jibber jabbering for a long time, so it's given you time to catch us, which is awesome. We've been talking about a whole lot of everything going on, and we've bounced around on a lot of subjects.
That's what we do.
If there's anything you care to talk about, you just let us know. We could probably talk about it.
You definitely would have
just keep it PG.
You definitely would have got a black because, as far as I'm aware, all the cultivars, like when people say they've got elderberries, it's the black species. Because I forget exactly why you can't eat the red one. It's not.
Is that the one that's behind the house? Here's the red.
They're very pretty, but you can't use that. You can't eat them the same way.
The birds do.
The birds like them.
But yeah.
Did I catch up?
Well, I don't know if because it seemed like it jumped ahead and then we were all whatever, but that's okay. I don't think we've actually missed anything.
I think I've almost caught up.
That's the also being sad. Oh, that was no, I wanted to say about drops to definitely, I'd be curious to know how you do with the elderberry from seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Or did you already talk about that? And I just
no, I did. I think I did put it up. But
oh, okay. I didn't hear you talk about it. But I think that's something that would be interesting to try as well. Oh, that was the other thing that we got seeds with the Canadian Seed Challenge, the choke cherries, which I do want to. We have some. Hopefully, we have some already, but I'd like to get more.
Yeah, we've got some. Well, actually, we made choke cherry jelly out of them, and it was really good. I really like it.
I like jelly anything. So we do the wild grape jelly, the dandelion jelly. We're going to try spruce tip jelly, the choke cherry jelly. Mm-hmm. The only thing that gets made into jam is the wild berry jam with the blackberries, raspberries, that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. You've got a blue species of elderberry. That is cool. I'm just talking Eastern Ontario, kind of Eastern North America. I think there's only the two, but I don't really know. I don't know what botany for everywhere, but that's very cool.
Cutting's much faster, yeah. So that's where we're kind of hoping this tree that Chris found at the back of the property is.
It's not in a great spot.
So I would propagate. That's what you're going to do.
It's kind of one of those things so what we basically did, we cleared out around it as much as we kind of could. It's sort of growing half under some apple trees that we're going to probably leave. So if it is a black elderberry, when I can actually make that determination, then I'm definitely going to propagate it pretty heavy, I think. And we found one other little seedling right by it too. So we're gonna see. Okay, that's good to know. They don't have a lot left, but still, we might take a look. Silver Creek, yeah, I've never ordered from them either, but that's another good one from what I've seen. I would definitely consider that.
Thank you for always shouting us out there, drops on your channel. It's much appreciated.
Yes, we do appreciate that.
Yeah, it is always great. So thank you so much. I know CJM's not in here either, but he always does the post too on his Facebook and everything for us. So we do appreciate it.
That's very similar to like the high bush cranberries too, right? Because there's the North American high bush cranberry and there's the European one. And I know between the two of them, from an edibility perspective, you want the North American one. It's still tart and whatnot, but it's more edible than the European one, even though they look very, very similar. If you get into some of the more urban areas in Ontario, and I'm sure elsewhere, like the Toronto region, unless it's kind of been planted or you're in a semi-natural area that hasn't been too disturbed, you're probably looking at the European one. It's amazing the variety of European plants that you get when you get into an urban area that have come along for the ride. Yeah, we were actually just talking about the dandelion jelly.
Yeah.
That's because you made it for the first time last year, and we are going to be making a lot more of that this year. Hello, Amy. Thanks for coming in.
We made, was it 9 half pint jars, 1 cup, whatever. And we tried one, it was so good, and then we gave a couple for Christmas gifts and stuff like that. So I think we only ended up with 4 jars for ourselves. So I said, we're definitely making that again this year. It was so good compared to I guess I never really thought about it. I'd be curious to try the dandelion wine as well, because I think it's made the same way with the petals or something similar, because I kind of I tried dandelion greens and didn't really care for them. Don't get me wrong. I mean, anything coated in a whole bunch of salad dressing is going to be okay. But, just to go out and eat a dandelion green, not my thing.
When they're really early, like if we were to harvest some now, they're better. We usually end up eating them a little later and then they're not very good.
But yeah, it's definitely one of those. We have to make it again, even though it takes a lot of work collecting all those dandelion petals. Sorry, I was going to say, okay.
Oh, you say what you're going to say.
No, I just wanted you to not forget to go back up because Katie posted about the Caraganas. It took a 30-foot wide row of. Oh, it did come out as cardigans, Caraganas. Yeah, my mom and dad's was left to do his own thing. Yeah, but you know what? I had one. I managed to find a Canadian Tire, one Caragana bush, 9 year. Well, it must have been longer than that because we've been here for a few years. So probably about 10 years ago, planted it. It never amounted into any more plants. It was just that one, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger, like off the main thing. But anyways, and then the ducks ate the seeds.
That's part of why we want it, because we're going to plant it near where some of the chicken coops are, because it's
they
really good chicken food.
But
and a nitrogen fixture too. So.
Have not ever again seen them for sale in a store out here.
That's not a weaving one, but we got some seeds, so
we're gonna try.
We're gonna try it.
Sorry, that's all I wanted to.
Yeah, I was gonna say to Amy's comment, I definitely agree. This is the one thing that surprises me, and we were talking to Cliffside Permaculture about this a couple weeks, maybe even a month ago back, because isn't it Sambucus canadensis? I think is the black elderberry. Anyways, so you think Canada, you think it should be everywhere. And it's not rare, but right in our local area,
there's just not a lot of it.
I don't know where there's any stands of it to propagate from to get the wild ones. So I'm kind of excited if this is a black, because we do have so many of the reds. The reds they grow different too, because you're right. When you find the wild blacks, you tend to get a patch of it. Mm-hmm. What I find a lot of the times when you get the reds, you get like a tree here or a bush here, a bush there, and they're more spread out. So I'm fingers crossed it's the black. I'm 98% sure, but I want to confirm it before I start propagating. So is I assume some of the ornamental elderberries are still probably edible. They just are grown more for their prettiness than anything else. You used it fresh, didn't you? You didn't dry it first for the dandelion jelly?
No, I used them fresh. We picked them in the same day I made the tea. It said to let it steep overnight. We steeped it for a couple hours. I think it was about an hour or something like that. But then you had to let it strain overnight because you didn't want to squish the blossoms. It just had to keep draining. And then the next day I just boiled it to make the jelly. But yeah, it's fresh right from the thing.
It's funny when you mention that, Drops, because this is one thing that I find hilarious. We let the sheep and stuff graze the quote unquote lawn periodically throughout the year, and it's the dandelions gone. Like that's the first thing they just wipe right out. Mm-hmm. And I always find it so funny when people spend so much effort trying to get rid of dandelions from their lawns when they have like these huge estate lawns, and it's like sheep will do it, mm-hmm. Cows will do it, geese will do it, like they all.
Oh, the horses, every animal eats. We're out there. We got the kids. As soon as the dandelions go to the thing, we're out there. You blow all those dandelions, spread them around, and other people we watch them trying to get rid of them, and yeah.
Yeah, the canadensis.
Yes. Katie Lake, I will take more seeds because just in case mine don't, keep us in mind for next time they seed out.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I would definitely take more because I love them, and and maybe that's just because in Manitoba it was a common thing to see them. It's like Saskatoons. I'm obsessed with getting a Saskatoon patch because that's my memory, mm-hmm. of Caragana bushes, poplars, and Saskatoons. Yeah.
Put that one up there and see if she
might have answered. You're not there yet.
Yeah, I'm behind. I wonder if you've got plums, if they might be one of the Canada plum.
Ooh.
Which is
those are the little red ones.
They're
right?
Still edible.
They're great for jelly. Great for jelly. Here I go with jelly again, but they do make really good jelly or jam.
Oh, she did say.
What'd she say?
Nope, she's got a video.
Oh, well, we'll look forward to that, the video. It's sad that you're not part of it anymore, but. Thank you, Indiana Backyard Gardener, for sharing some links.
Yes.
That's awesome. Definitely anybody, go for it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to. I'm sure you could still use them the same way, but you probably are a little different. The cultivated, the prettier ones.
You got to keep going up to
Oh, I
back to your.
know.
It keeps jumping.
It
It's
goes right
really
to the end, and
frustrating.
you're just like, ah.
Dandelions are Drop's first crop. They're priceless. Yep.
Yeah, and the rabbits love them. That is for sure.
Red in the Valley, definitely. We should have. You should join our Eastern Ontario gardeners. We're going to keep. Well, we did a little video on that, which has some links for under the Garden Gurus, but we definitely are kind of working on starting a little group. We titled it Eastern Ontario Gardeners because there's not a whole bunch of groups formed in Canada and Ontario yet, but eventually we're hoping that people will form groups more specific to their regions. But right now we're inviting anybody really from Canada that wants to be part of our, like this area, Eastern Canada, to be part of our group. I think it's still a small enough area that you can do seed sharing and, like you just said about, some propagating slips, things like that. So definitely, if you have any interest in that, just send us a comment on one of the videos or something like that, and I'll send you the link, because we're trying to build that community to get to where we can share and definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you get the idea. I've explained it quite a few times now. MB's probably going, she did a horrible job at that. What kind of sales pitch was that?
It's getting late. Yeah, we can actually. There's quite a bit of asparagus if you drive around some of the back roads, even the highways. Sometimes
there's asparagus everywhere. Yeah,
it's amazing where you find it. Sometimes
you just need to remember where those patches are when you see them in seed in the fall, so that you can go back. Yeah. It's kind of funny because some of the times I used to notice these little flags on posts and things like that, and then this is going out towards the cottage and stuff, and then you'd come by later in the fall and you'd see there was asparagus there. So people had marked stuff. So I wonder if they'd ever lost their, someone come along and stole it.
Possibly.
But I thought about it, but then I was like, oh, somebody marked that.
I wonder, Jan, if you'd have the American plum, because I know they're a little better eating than the Canada plum. Canada plum's quite a dry fruit, but like you say, you can make quite a bit of stuff out of it. But either way, that's still pretty cool. I actually found one wild one in our food forest.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I assume it's Canada, but we kind of are on that northern limit of American plum too, so you don't really know.
We've left it alone, and we'll see what it does.
Yeah, we're going to cut some stuff out around it so it gets a bit of a chance, but right now, don't know exactly what it is.
We're still exploring the property and finding all sorts of goodies.
Oh, yeah, you find all sorts of interesting stuff.
Yeah.
But
oh, Amy, you're starting your own garden nursery. That's awesome. Very exciting news.
Well, thank you, Jan, for coming in. Sorry, I'm just kind of getting down to stuff now. That is exciting news about starting the nursery.
Yeah.
It's something we thought about. We're just not there yet.
Drops is just dreaming about living in South America. I don't know if I'd like it. I really don't.
Parts I would. And
number one, the spiders and stuff. That would do me in. I couldn't handle that.
Well, we won't say anything, Amy.
Yeah.
We'll keep your secret.
Your secret is safe. Covered with dandelions, forget-me-nots.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
It's great for the bees too. I mean, that's one of the things. It's super nice.
Yeah, and no, that would be awesome about the Carigana seeds. That's something. Yeah, I have a small pack that I got from. But
it only had a few.
Doesn't have a lot. I'm gonna start them really shortly here because I have to do the hot water treatment to get them going. But it's kind of a fun little thing. And
I know it's an odd bush for somebody to want to have, but it really is one of those you can't find it anywhere here.
It's in that whatchamacallit? It's in that permaculture type. There's uses for it, and the bees do love it. All the pollinators love it.
Oh, you jumped again.
Oh boy.
There we are. Oh, they're holding our check for 2 weeks. Bad thing. This has been a great live, honestly. Thank you, everyone. This has been awesome. I will admit I'm dwindling a little bit, but we're almost 3 hours strong here.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And we've kept, it's been great chat. And like you say, we've talked about all sorts of different things. We don't have the dead nettle. We have the other one that isn't the same. It's Tinker's wife. We were talking about this, and now I can't even remember. I get this every now and then, where there's like the odd plant where I just, for the life of me, I can't remember what it's called. I know what it is. I can go find it in the book, but anyways.
Well, Rosie would be inspiring. That's one thing about having space and getting going on things. It's really something. I don't know. I'm going to pick on. It's a Canadian channel, but I don't know if you follow. What's the one that we watched? Oh, is it Can't Eat the Grass? You Can't Eat the Grass.
Yes, that's a bigger one. They're a market gardener.
They're a market gardener, but market garden, and they do like selling seedlings and things like that. But they're really fun to watch because they just take you through the whole nitty gritty, which I think is great. Sure, it's You Can't Eat the Grass.
Yep, it is. Yeah, permaculture. I don't know. I really like the concept. It's just one of those things. That it's a long haul to get there, and if you're not planning to move, it's great because you can do it. But
I failed epically at Three Sisters last year.
Well, we'll try it again. We've got some tips from talking to people.
Well, yes, I planted it all at the same time. I didn't realize that I should have planted the beans later. At least that's what I've been advised. The beans just toppled our corn. Our corn wasn't ready. And anyways, maybe I'll view it as a learning curve.
That's a good addiction to have, though, dropping seeds.
Yeah.
And starting plants.
Somebody else is like that.
And wanted to collect more.
Yeah, and get more seeds. The indoor greenhouse, yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of limited by space.
Well, and Chris's thing too, and I'm on board with it when I understand it, but it is a lot of tree stuff. Like you like the idea of getting the nut trees and all the getting going on that sort of stuff too, which
well, but there is like annual and like the mint family that spreads, and there's other things too.
I have a hard time focusing on the ones that are a longer vision. That's all.
Yeah, it's exactly. You know where it is, you know what it is, but it's like, I know what it is. I do this in the field when I'm doing field work, where it's like, I know that one. It's on page, blah, 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 blah. There it is. Which I guess that's still a good skill to have.
Well, she loves Can't Eat the Grass. We watched their most. Sorry, I'm going to go on a thingy because I thought it was so great. They did her most recent one. I don't know if you watched it, where she had the seedlings all over inside the building and in the bathroom because they couldn't put them outside because of the crazy Canadian weather, and absolutely fantastic. And then we got up. She planted, what was it, 1,500 tomatoes or something like that. And anyways, it was great. And she was talking about her alarm clock being set to 10:40 at night because her alarm clock is set to go to bed, not for the morning. Anyways, yes, love Can't Eat the Grass. Yeah. It sometimes makes me sad because their comments are always turned off. So you can't like comment anything to them, but I still enjoy watching their content. So Tinker's wife likes them too.
Are you growing an orange tree from seed, or is it like one you got as a smaller plant? I would actually like to do. I want to do lemons. A couple of Myers lemons trees. It's just we haven't got that far.
Mm-hmm.
But
that would be the one plant that I do tell him, as far as a tree that has to come into a grow room in the wintertime. A lemon one for me would be the one plant that would be worth it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's Homestead Aquarius pretty much said it there. The permaculture is a wonderful way to live with the addition of an intensive gardening practice. I think you're right. Like it's not that you can't integrate annuals into a permaculture design. You totally can. But then a lot of the annuals do best with the constant disturbance, which is kind of where it gets complicated. Like, because we were talking about this for our garden of, we do till. We're working with some garden spaces that they were gardens years ago. They're not now. They're still very fertile, but we're still going to till parts of it. But then trying to work with mulches and this, that, and whatever, and even look at, like, if you're doing your 3-year crop rotation, maybe every 3 years you're tilling some of the organic matter here. Some kind of compromise, because I don't know on a small scale, and I know there's different opinions on this, but if you can really do everything in the same method. There are going to be just some plants that do well in that constant state of disruption, right?
Yeah.
So, on the flip side, constant state of disruption on thousands of acres every year, that's a totally different scenario. But yeah.
It was a good one, Amy. Definitely check it out. Tinker's Wife, thank you for sharing the Can't Eat the Grass channel. Honestly, great Canadian channel, and a very successful Canadian channel. There's very few of those. I know it. I mean, it depends on your level of what you call a level of success, but for a YouTube channel, they have made it. I think we watched their YouTube breakdown of what they made in 2020, and they said they made more off YouTube than they did off their market garden. But few citrus here and hardier varieties all the time. Yeah. Well, maybe by the time we.
I love this comment. Do chickens constitute constant disruption? Yes, they do.
Yep.
Especially at our place right now. I think you might have been in here when we were talking about that at the beginning with them disturbing our garlic bed.
Yeah.
It's like it's the only thing planted in that whole big garden space that we don't want them to destroy, and it's partially protected. And what's the part they beeline for?
The garlic.
The garlic. Yeah.
So hopefully they haven't managed to kill anything. Red in the Valley, the starting plant seed. Now we have the opposite problem. We always start lots of plants. They do really well. We fail at advancing the plants to the next stage. That is where we always have eyes, like your eyes bigger than your belly kind of thing, right? Like we have plans of gardens we're going to make and things like that. And we plant and we plant and we plant. And then we go, where are we putting everything? And yeah, so as it is right now, we're going, where are we putting everything?
We're going to get it sorted. We're doing way better this year than last year.
15 Myers.
That's
wow.
Awesome. We'll have to, are you going to propagate some more of them in the near future? Because if you are, I know we're not exactly close, but maybe we could figure something out.
Yeah.
Because that would be pretty cool. Because that's just one of those funny little things that I would love to try because, there's not a lot of substitutes for lemons.
No.
And they do have some uses, so it'd be nice to have some. But
there is
big jerk. Such a funny name for a rooster. Our roosters don't actually usually get names. Well, you name some of them, but
I know I name all of the roosters all have the same name. So I have Buddy, I have Mister, and I have Guy. Those are the three ones.
That's the only ones that get names. Only
so I have three that, because we used to only keep 3 roosters. Yeah. Right. And so when Guy was replaced by one of his offspring, that offspring became Guy. So I've stuck with that, and I've stuck calling the 3 that are of those lines those names. The other 3 don't have names because they're just yellow rooster, green rooster, because they have leg bands on.
Space doesn't necessarily make you more productive. That's for sure. Some people in very small spaces can do some pretty awesome things. But that's cool that you have some started. So are you just taking cuttings from like that way, or I'm just curious because I've never really looked into propagating citrus, but it's kind of always been in the back of my mind. They find me. Don't they always find you?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Could be outside hiding. They just keep calling.
And they get louder.
Yeah, also true. So I've actually done that where I've planted lemons from the store, and they grew, and I got trees, but
never got seeds.
No,
or
but
never got
I think
fruit.
it has to do with the variety. Having to get to be a full-size plant. Oh, the cat
The cats started. They're like, it's past bedtime. We're going to keep playing because the adults aren't asleep, so why should we be asleep?
We may end up, we may be winding down here. I think it's coming up on 11:30, but it is past. It's hard. It's past 11:30. It's hard to wind down when you're having good conversation.
Yeah. One of my quarter-acre plots. Yeah, this is the one thing we're probably only working about 1/8 of an acre right now as actual garden. We're hoping to at least double that this year. So we'd be a quarter acre as well. But hey, Quebec Homestead, Mal, how you doing?
Hello. We're getting to that point where we just keep talking.
Yes, we are going to bed as well because it is getting late. But we just keep, the conversation keeps going, but that's okay.
That's cool that you're starting this. So I'm going back to the Myers lemon thing. So when you start them from seed, like, do you purchase the seeds to start them that way, or I'm fascinated here because this is going to open up a whole nother little sub project of
I
indoor
know.
gardening.
Yes. Yeah. Homestead of Christ, like we've been winding down for 2 hours.
That sounds about right.
That's about it. Yeah, we are winding down.
But
well,
at least I've caught up to the chat.
Yes, that's true. Oh, that's a really nice thing to do, Drops. That's good.
No, that is awesome.
Yeah. But we've been talking to the kids too about the, having extra and being able to donate it to the local food banks and stuff. So we want to look into that a little bit more because the kids are learning about that sort of stuff. Well, now they're not in school, but they were in school and learning about that stuff. So
yeah, it's definitely getting to that time of year where everything's ramping up. That's where we started because we're going to push our lives back to 9 on Tuesdays because we just can't get it all done before
and get back in for 8:30.
Yeah, and still eat and everything else.
But yeah, I'm sure you're feeling it as well. That getting everything ready and getting it going, and
it all happens so quickly.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Sorry, who did she say goodnight to? Was that her leaving, or is that somebody else was leaving here?
She might be saying goodnight to us because we're supposed to be leaving.
We're supposed to be leaving. I don't know. If you're leaving, Caitlin, good night. Whoever Caitlin is talking to, if they're leaving, good night. And, I haven't even been drinking. This is terrible.
No, that's the thing. All I've had is water.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. She's done seeds and from, no, that's cool.
Huh.
We should.
He's going to go and buy organic lemons tomorrow now. We'll be trying lemon trees.
I'd like to eventually. Yeah, well, glad that you've been enjoying it.
Yes. Have a fantastic sleep. We will be not far behind you.
We'll be following you very shortly.
And we'll see you next week, hopefully. And if not, that is fine. But have a great week. And hopefully you post some videos and we'll watch and see how things are going. Oh, that was the other. Oh, anyways, we'll talk about next week. I wanted to know if the lamb was yours or whether that was at your family's place.
I think limes are very similar because there are some small lime varieties you can grow indoors.
Yeah,
I've done a little bit.
It's like the little mini orange things. Have a good night, Val.
Yeah, good night. Thanks for coming in. I did some research on it, but I don't remember. It's one of those things. The information's there, and I'll read about it again and go, "Oh yeah, I remember all this now."
Yeah. Good night, Red in the Valley. Have a good night. Thank you very much for coming in. It's always great to find other Canadian channels.
Mm-hmm. It is great. I even actually I had a grapefruit tree going for a while, but I know there aren't. Well, when I did it, there wasn't any dwarf grapefruit varieties, so I kind of abandoned it because it wasn't going to ever come to fruition. Well, I would have had a tree, but
I never found one in the store. I don't know. I've never actually looked.
I have, and yeah,
they probably picked them super young.
Well, and some varieties I think are developed to have less seeds, right? It's like navel oranges.
Red in the Valley thought we were done. We're never done.
No, I think we probably should because I've got to work in the morning, and this has been awesome. And thank you, everybody, for chatting with us for so long. It's been a whole lot of really good information. And
thank you very much, Drops.
We've learned stuff, and hopefully others have learned stuff, and hopefully we didn't just sound like we were rambling on about nothing for like 3 hours or whatever. But
no, and you know what? We love to learn from everybody, and we love to get to know everybody. It feels really personal.
I'm going to ask a question.
Oh, we're starting another conversation.
No. It's a short question because I meant to ask in one of your lives, Indiana Backyard Gardener, what fish you had. They looked like cichlids, and I keep meaning to ask.
He also is into fish.
Yes,
Tinker's wife, fish, and Anyway.
I have two little.
I have the prime nerd example right here. This is the nerdiest you can get. And it's all mine. All mine.
But Homestead Aquarius will Robert will be happy because I've got.
Because you're a nerd?
Well, no. The fish thing. It's not frogs. We've got frogs out in our pond and whatnot, but we've got. I've got a little experiment that I'm starting with very small scale aquaponics, I guess you would say.
Yeah, I'm gonna cry. It's like I'm holding in this it's your version of aquaponics, basically.
Yeah.
Let's clean out the fish tank and feed it to the.
Well, that's what it is right now, but I'm going
fish,
to ramp it up a little bit. But
there'll be a video on that
eventually. They're little right now.
He got his theory is if the fish are free, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he's collecting fish in tanks to water the plants and eventually put little floaty things on the top. So we'll see how that. Watch this space to see how that develops, because this will be like the blueberries that are still planted in the buckets.
No.
Yep.
Oh, it is a solar tank. Okay, that's cool. I just wasn't sure because I remember seeing it in the background, and I was going to ask. Yeah, we're not doing like they're not big. They're not big fish. They are tropical. We've got cichlids right now. They're jewel cichlids, smaller. And this is going to sound bad, but kind of the idea of having them to produce the waste for the plants, but then also potentially feed them back into cat.
There you go. See, I'll put up Homestead Aquarius one there. We should have used that as our Shed Wars
we can do
inspirational whatever. What was? Oh gosh, this is late at night. Gladiator 2.
Well, but it's not
spring inspiration.
It wasn't fleshed out enough.
You could have said Homestead Aquarius was your spring inspiration. You'd have won. It's using an inside channel.
That's funny. How many cats do we have? There you go. You answer this one because that's all you.
We have 9 cats. I know it's really scary. And if you say it faster, it doesn't seem quite as bad. The advantage is most people don't notice that we have 9 because 4 of them are white and 2 of them are gray. So they kind of look like the same cats.
We have duplicates.
Yes, we have duplicates.
We're like collectors. We're like the nerdy collectors.
I'll try and give the quick version of the story behind this, Going Green Mom, Megan. It is, when we came here, there was tons of stray cats. And one of the ones, Blue, out in the barn, got very, very friendly, and she had kittens. So we decided we would keep one of those kittens, and we brought it into the house. Then there was 2 kittens left, and somebody took one, and then there was only 1 kitten left. So we brought her in because we didn't want her to be by herself. And Blue, in the short time that we had not thought about things, had another litter of kittens, and she got being really mean to the other one. So we brought her in. Anyways, the second litter of kittens on day 2, she moved it up to the loft, and
it was the middle of summer. It was hot.
Yeah, and they fell out of the loft, and basically all perished except for 2. And we brought them in, and we honestly thought they weren't going to live, and they did. So then those 2 came in, and then Blue had another round of kittens before we could get her spayed. Like, she was bred like that girl's a hussy. But anyways, she had another round of kittens, which we then had to bring in December, which it was cold, but we couldn't get her spayed until she had been weaned from them for 2 weeks. So we brought them in at 6 weeks old.
Right before Christmas.
Christmas
present to us.
To book her in to get spayed. So now she is spayed. There will be no more kittens. We have 2 outdoor barn cats that are both spayed.
We have our cat problem under control.
Our cat problem is under control because we brought everybody else inside.
Our inherited cat problem.
And are slowly going through the process of spaying and neutering all these cats, which were supposed to back out to be barn cats, but they seem to be scaredy cats. We've had 2 of them go outside only to absolutely lose it and freak out and want to come back in and just like they're different cats. So So far, none of them have made it back outside. We've managed to spay or neuter 6 cats, but it is a very hefty budget to do that. They're all called. We should name one Jezebel.
They don't have names, though.
They do all have names. Well, yeah, and there's not going to be any more. But on a side note, we did notice that there was another wildcat that looks very well bred out there. So obviously, between us and the neighbors spaying cats, she has not been done yet. So, oh yeah, we have no mice problems here whatsoever.
No. An interesting thing too, because we know cats do kill a lot of birds and small mammals and all that sort of stuff. I'm going to say it this way: the group of cats that came with the property aren't bird eaters. It's really bizarre.
And they all look like vampires.
They're like saber-toothed cats. It's hilarious. Their teeth are like extra
Toss
long.
them in the barn, they'll be fine. Oh, but we're just suckers, because then they look at you and go, but we're so cute and we love you. And that. So anyways, we cater to everything. We've had to like totally deck out our grow room in any plant area so that they can't eat all our starts. And anyways, the cats are spoiled rotten. There are well, I shouldn't say that because I still have the horses, but there are luxury animals. And if they happen to eventually wander out on their own, great, but they do not seem to like to be forced out. And after spending money to get them fixed, we don't want to lose them. So we're going to kind of slowly let them decide if they want to be outdoor or indoor cats.
We're not collecting any more cats.
No, there won't be any more. Everything that's going outside is fixed. No other cats outside are our responsibility. We don't feed any outdoor cats. Like our 2 girls that are outside come to the back door, they eat their dish at the time, and then we bring the food in.
So when we came to look at our property for 52. The first time, there was 52 cats here.
Yeah. Not like they were just, as we wandered around the property, went to the back and drove around, there was like 52 cats, lots of kittens at that time.
Which had nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
So when we moved in, there was only 4, so they managed to rehome a lot of them.
But might be best as indoor outdoor.
We have one old one. She's how old?
Poppy, she's 18.
So she's 18 years old, and she kind of after we moved, she got to the point, she's fixed a little bit. We thought she was kind of dying. And at 18, it was what it was. And it was the summertime.
And all she wanted was to go outside. Like anytime you open the door, she bolted. And she'd never been an outdoor cat.
No.
And so finally we just said, okay, go.
We got the barn, we got whatever, go outside. And she went from like the cat that
you thought was going to be dead the next day to she looks amazing. Like nobody can believe that she is an 18-year-old cat when they come to our house. Mm-hmm. So she's our greeter now. But yes, 52. It was like everywhere you looked was cats. And most of them were white. So it was kind of creepy because, everybody always thinks white cats aren't very common. So I don't know.
It's a deck of cat cards. You could have a different cat on every card.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. So now I think realistically, I'm pretty sure this will sound really bad. So we have 11 cats in total, including the outside ones. Our neighbor, I believe, has at least 9 that she has befriended and fixed or, spayed, neutered, and they're friendly. We can't pet them really, but she can. And I believe she has indoor, outdoor as well. So anyways, needless to say, there is a cat colony here, or at least was. We've kind of nipped that a little bit between the 2 of us getting things done. But I'll tell you what, it is, we've spent more money on cats than we've spent on any other animals.
It's Homestead Aquarius' comment about the owls. We have great horned owls here. We actually, because we're doing the Ontario Breeding Bird Atlas, it's the 3rd one, and we actually got one calling like just at our house. You could hear it through the house walls. But we also have a pair of like really resident coyotes that they're right around the cattle farm that's next door. I don't know how so many cats survive. I'll be honest, because a lot of them, I think, have disappeared over time, but like most of them weren't friendly. So it's
well, and definitely, because before winter there was a lot more wildcats out there. Although saying that, we did think that those 2 kittens that we'd seen in the fall thought they were perished, and then they were wandering in the backwoods there the other day. So they seem to make it somehow. It's kind of like rabbits. I mean, we're loaded with rabbits. How can we have so many rabbits when there's so many coyotes? But
yeah, I'm not sure about our resident coyotes.
I think they might be bad hunters.
I don't know what they eat, but it's not rabbits and it's not cats.
Yeah. Or there's that many cats and we just don't notice it. That's also possible. Like, it's really morbid to say that, but it's kind of like one of those Disney movies, you know, where you walk downtown and all the cats start coming out of the tall buildings. It's kind of like that. You go down to our back 40 and it's like, oh, there's a cat. Oh, there's a cat.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
safety in numbers, Green Mom says.
So now when you're watching our videos and you hear a cat fight in the background, you'll have a new appreciation for where that came from. It wasn't just some random act of catness.
There's a lot of cats here. A lot.
Oh.
And to be honest, well, yeah, because their neighbors' ones aren't there now because they've taken them with them. But anyways, on that note, we are going to go to bed. But this has been awesome, and I'm going to keep quiet before we start another fun chat because then it gets going.
Probably a good idea. No, I will say this though. It's funny on the bird front. Since moving here, like in this spring versus last spring, the number of birds, because we keep track of this stuff, has gone up exponentially since we've started farming the way we have. So they're not easy.
They like the changes we're making.
Yeah. There you go. The real entertainment value here was the story of our 52 cats.
Cream Mom's like, sweet dreams. Are you sure it's only 6 minutes till the top of the hour? It's almost tomorrow already. Oh my goodness. I think we should wrap it up before tomorrow.
Yes, we should.
But thank you everybody for sticking with us. This has been awesomely great. I've had a great time. And yes, exactly. I'm going to say good night.
Good night, Hickorycroft Farm.
Tinker's wife keeps saying stuff she knows you're going to talk to. Yeah, good practice. That's you right there. You're going to be like, oh, I'll jump on that one. I got something to say.
Good night, everybody.
Yes.
We'll,
have a great night. I would say we'll be here all week, but we're not. We're not going to be back here till next week. And don't forget, we're starting at 9 next week instead of 8:30.
So then we will go to 12:30.
Okay. It's safe now.
Good night, everybody.
Valley says, good night. Sweet dreams. We'll see you in the next one.